15 minutes is what?
30 minutes.
Oh. I have that, so I don't need that. What's this, board? That's a minutes too?
That's how many papers.
What are you?
Okay, then.
You said.
That's a minute. This is what?
Ouch.
That's it. That day.
This is the order,
And then
what,
the finance and the personnel.
what am under committees?
Yep.
2 personnel, oh yeah.
Unless I don't, I have no idea.
Then we have old business,
Old business.
got the 7 hours.
Yeah.
Business. What is this?
Here's that helps you.
You feel that, right? Oh, yeah, it's, trying to get 10 minutes. But I mean, it's all highway miles, 300,000 miles. So,
You have agendas if anybody needs an agenda. And there is a sign-in sheet for anybody who wants to address the board.
Interesting.
A regular meeting of the Delta County Commissioners is being held this date pursuant to the following call. In the letter to the Commissioners dated March 2nd, 2023, and reading as follows. The honorable members of the Delta County Board of Commissioners, dear Commissioners, a regular meeting of the Delta County Board of Commissioners is scheduled for Tuesday, March 7th, 2023 at 5 p.m. in the boardroom of the Delta County Service Center and via Zoom. Sincerely yours, Nancy Presraki, Delta County Clerk. Please rise for a word of prayer. Lord, as we begin this meeting, we thank you for our many blessings. We ask for your guidance to help our commissioners make decisions in the best interest of the citizens they serve. And Lord, we pray for the safety of our military men and women. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Commissioner Melner.
Here.
Commissioner View.
Here.
Commissioner Barron.
Here.
Commissioner Moyle.
Here.
And Commissioner Peterson.
Here. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. We are starting our next commissioners workshop. Thank you very much. Sheriff, we could have you for discussing this. Talking about courthouse security.
I'm gonna hand out an assessment I've done for UP. This is a security. Will be subject to the courthouse security.
Thank you.
This was done 1 year ago, most of this. I went to other courthouses, talked to other sheriffs.
Thank you, sir.
Most courthouse, I think I moved the last time. Locked down. Most courthouses in the UP are locked down at this time. What I mean by lockdown, they got one entrance. One entrance leading into the courthouse with a metal detector. Some of them check employees when they report to work, some of them do not. To the point to where I went to Luce County to see the sheriff. To get to the sheriff's office, I had to go through the courthouse, which a couple of them in the UP are attached to the courthouse. I had to secure my weapon in my vehicle before I could go in through the courthouse. I think this is industry standard. As you look through the sheet, you'll see that this is where most courthouses were heading. The ones that were not, that only had one entrance similar to ours, did have a meeting after I was there to determine what they were planning to do with their courthouse. So what I'd ask is the Board of Commissioners to think about this, decide what to do. What I'd want to do is each courtroom would have a door that would be locked remotely by the judge. So if there's something happening in the hallway, they can lock down that courtroom. With that, we would have changed the doors to circuit court. Circuit court doors cannot be locked down the way they are. They're two double doors. Each office would have bulletproof glass and a pass-through. With no exception, all offices would have that. And that's what I saw at almost every courthouse, even if they, like Ontonagon, they were all bulletproof glass and pass-through. So people cannot get into offices from the hallway. And then in the entrance have a metal detector and an officer there. Run the metal detector, and the side doors would be emergency exit only with alarmed on the side doors. Now, we've gone down this road discussing this. I don't know how many times in the past. We obtained prices years ago, many times, and each time it just fades out. State Court Administrator's Office have been here or been to our courthouse. Many times they've done assessments, and that's really what they're recommending.
Moving forward, Sheriff, what would you like to see done first? I mean, if you could have your brothers.
I would like to see the courtrooms to be locked down, so they could be locked down by the judge. Which means putting a new door in circuit court, a bulletproof glass put in all courtrooms or all offices. So such as there's quite a few offices where people can go through or grab somebody through. So bulletproof glass and a pass through. That's what I'd like to start with. From there, I'd like to move on to metal detector at the front door and a package scanner and an alarm in the side doors. I think we're already working on fobbing all doors in the courthouse. That's just going to take time. I believe the fobs are in as of this time.
Commissioners, do you have questions for the sheriff, please?
I guess, do we have any quotes on pricing on, I know you said you've got it in the past, but is there anything up to date on costs of all this?
And I think I put in here to expect it to be 230,000 or maybe a little bit higher.
Okay,
Depends on the quality, how far we go with a metal detector. I'd want something large enough to get people through quite quick. So we're not ending up with a line at the front door of the courthouse. Then we have to have a spot for wheelchairs to go through and a package scanner.
In terms of existing funds, Ashley, do we have any accounts that we can draw from other than the general fund currently?
We did set some aside for the ARP funds. I recall, Sheriff, for your ARP funds.
There was ARP fund set aside for the courthouse. I do not know the amount.
I don't know the exact amount.
I know a
of it.
package
It was-
scanner is about 25,000.
Right.
Metal detector might, depending on quality, which one we buy, depends on the pricing.
Well, I don't want this to be another time where it's brought up and then fades away. Just letting you know right now. I mean, I wholeheartedly support this in your recommendations. Any other questions from the members of this board, please?
What about this board up here, bulletproof here? Just asking. No, but
serious.
Well,
I didn't say anything. Quit looking at me that way.
well, I have
Go
to. We're targets sometimes, you know, I mean, I don't know which way, but you never know. But my main concern or what I would recommend is to get this thing going, to see how you can do it in phases. I don't know if a phase would be 6 months or 1 year. You do so much, how much it costs compared to doing it all at one time, even if it's a little bit more in phases that we can implement. You know, just to get started on it, because I'm not familiar with our budget very good right now. I haven't looked at it and I don't know what's available. And is there grants for this, other resources we can use?
I don't know if grants to update a courthouse. There's always grants for the cameras.
Well, that's a
for
start
updating
too.
Cameras, but other than cameras, I don't know if grants for another detector for the courthouse.
Okay, I mean, that's my suggestion. Just give us the facts, implement it over whatever you feel would be, the most important first and move on from there to secure whatever we need to secure and get a budget on that and move forward with it. And
Yeah, that's why I'd start with metal detectors in courthouse, the courtroom doors. I did have in here also, you'll see about secure parking for employees.
Yep.
So I'm separating the public and the judges from the
administrative costs on grounds, you're gonna have to have a sheriff there, or do we have one there all the time or at each piece of equipment?
Yeah.
we have two, but those officers often are tied up in courtrooms.
Right, so
I know that they would like a third to help with run the metal detector and package scanner. And I talked to other courthouses, the package scanner is something they recommend in other courthouses. It's where they're lacking. They find a lot of stuff in purses, a lot of knives. While I was there, I watched one guy walk up and then go back to his truck. Thinking
he had
he
some,
had something, either a knife or a gun, they had to put back in his truck.
Now, would you start getting the ball rolling then? As far as getting prices and
Well, I'd work with the maintenance
Or-
director on that with the bulletproof glass and the courtroom or the doors for circuit court. And we did have a meeting with courthouse security meeting last week, the week before, and judge was there, and that's really something the judges really want, or Judge Econ, we really discussed the locking those doors would have been.
Mr. Chair, I would recommend if we can, when we come up with the agenda, that we put this item on for discussion under new business to move forward with it, since we can't make a decision right at this
Correct.
committee of the whole, so.
Can we have you working with Ashley over the next 2 weeks, so that at our next meeting, even if you come at us with some hard numbers, for lack of a better term, getting phase one going, we can actually start on it so you can feel like there's some progress and the courthouse community can see progress as well.
Yes, that would be great. We are starting with signage. I don't know if the signs are made, the signs might be made up. On the way, starting with signage, I found Marquette had the best signage, warning people right away. What's acceptable and not acceptable in the courthouse. And I think we worked a month ago or so on getting the signs made up. And they'll be installed on the front doors right away.
So obviously we can't vote during the session, but for Ashley, if you could, with the sheriff and with Corey, could we set up for possibly the 21st of March, and please jump in, commissioners, as you feel it, to where we could have those doors, get the price and having those doors changed out, and anything else you would like to see done in phase one. Is that okay?
Could we bring it forth to the finance committee meeting
Yes.
first prior to the board meeting?
Yeah, we would have to have a finance committee meeting prior to that, obviously.
Right,
But I
okay,
mean, you start getting your
Absolutely.
numbers together, and then finance can have a meeting and then bring it to them, and then we'll bring it to the board. But I'd like to see you understanding that there's some progress going.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
can we still have it voted on in the meeting to move forward with this so we can get consensus of all the commissioners?
I think under adjustments to the agenda, sure,
Okay, that's what I'd like, and then it's automatic.
not a problem.
Everybody knows in the public, and the sheriff
problem.
has
all the commissioners' blessing if we pass
Any
it.
final questions for our sheriff?
Yes, I do. Sheriff, Commissioner View mentioned something about touched on staffing. What do you project would take for staffing, especially with this metal detector, baggage, what have you? What is that something that one individual can take care of?
I believe one could take care of it. We'd have to have relief, and 3 in the courthouse would be optimum for me to have 3 security officers
Okay,
in the
so 2 are
courthouse. Right now
present.
I have 2. 3 would be optimal because there's 6 courtrooms. You have the main courtrooms, and each one has another courtroom off of it. Such as like friend of the court. District court also has another courtroom within their secure space.
Thank you.
One last comment. Each of these counties have a little bit of something different. Are we going with the Cadillac plan, or are we getting a combination of something that each of them have, or the best of some of them?
Pretty much what all of them have would be, what they do not have is a package scanner. And it's hard getting everyone through with purses and so forth without one, is what I found. So that would be the one thing we'd have that they do not. And they all man that with one person. You'll see Dickinson County, I believe, have 5 officers. They do have some part-time.
The metal scanner, is that handheld, or are you looking for the one that conveyor?
No conveyor. Conveyor that goes through. Hand one, anything we hand one, it would go off and we'd have to search it anyways.
Okay. So it's not a body check then, just through the front doors? I mean, you can conceal on your body. I just want to make sure that,
That's a separate metal detector. So there's 2, there's a body,
Okay.
or there's a package scanner and a metal detector.
Commissioners? Sheriff, thank you for your time on this, and hopefully we'll be revisiting this shortly.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, commissioners, do you have for our informational workshop, which gives us the latitude to do some things, is there anything else you would like to discuss on this before we go into the regular agenda? Anything else, commissioners informational workshop, it's up to this is just discussion only, so.
No.
Commissioner View,
yeah, I probably do, but I have to go through my records. So go to the other ones right
Commissioner
now.
Melner,
No, not at this time.
Commissioner Barron.
Not at this time. Thank you.
We will be discussing later about the search for a new administrator. So that's under old business. So Commissioner will, if you have anything, we'll
Yeah, go ahead.
let it go.
Yes, please.
Okay, we can always come back to. All right, this will end the informational workshop. Sheriff, thank you for your service. The approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of the county board of 2/21/23.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Barron,
Support.
by Commissioner Peterson. Is there discussion regarding this? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, these minutes are approved. Approval of tonight's agenda. Anybody wish to add anything to tonight's agenda, or
I would like to add that request to have the sheriff go through with the phasing in the security of the courthouse.
so you would like a discussion or a vote under new business?
Yeah, under new business, they have a vote of the commissioners to move forward with that officially.
That would be item number 13, Commissioner View.
Or
Okay, we have a motion, we have support, we have additional discussion. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye, that item is added to the agenda and approval of tonight's agenda.
I would like to add something else too, if possible. I've been getting a lot of calls on an announcement on WDBC radio for us to have a message to the public on the termination of our administrator. It was said about 3 weeks ago. that it would have been done on, at the meeting of the 21st. And I would like us to address that tonight, if each commissioner would, speak towards that so we can forget the past, move forward on that issue. I don't know if anyone, I had emails and a lot of calls, and it's taken a lot of my time to try to talk to these people that where I could try to move forward with other things. And I think it's something past due that needs to be attended for the general public.
Very good, sir. But could I can't put that in terms of a motion. Can you simplify that in terms of a motion?
Well, that we give a reason why we terminated her, each of our commissioners.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. I just want to, so you want an explanation of termination of our previous administration?
Because we promised it on the radio, yes.
Okay, that, so we have a motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Melner, so that we would offer a explanation of termination. Discussion, gentlemen.
Yes. I'm not sure what was promised on a radio station, but I know definitely I wasn't part of that. And as far as the termination, which took place 4 weeks ago tonight, I believe the information has been out there of what took place. And I think it's self-explanatory from the 10 or 12-minute statement of our former administrator, DeSalvo, and it should be fairly obvious to all that we were definitely, the board and the former administrator were moving in different directions. And so that's what's taken place. And I don't see what the justification is to have a discussion or have each board member put forth a statement on this. It's been something that was voted on and taken care of 4 weeks ago. And I don't see what's going to be gained by this. I just believe that we're stirring things back up that don't need to be. It's already done.
The statement, which I didn't know happened until just I was emailed, it was on February 15th. A commissioner stated on WDBC Newsmakers that the commission as a whole would put out a statement regarding the firing of Emily DeSalvo at the meeting on the 21st. This person that wrote this said this did not happen. And
I
she
can
is,
clarify.
okay, go ahead.
I was the person who made that. I made the statement with the full expectation of on the 21st, that we would have some kind of statement to the public. This job is anything but static. It can be very ballistic at times. And so I did say that. I take full responsibility for that. There was nothing nefarious based on that. As it was, the commission meeting on the 21st was almost 4 hours. And so there was no ill intent with that.
That was the next day on the radio, not that the evening of the meeting.
No, I'm telling you that why I didn't give the response on the 21st. So that was my mistake and I apologize.
Well, I guess what I'm saying, most of the commissioners, like this, Commissioner Barron gave his reason already. That's all we need to do is just say something like what he said. And I think then I think it'll release the people from saying something. And if they do call me up and want something, I can basically say, this is what the reasonings were by each commissioner, because I'll have a record of it. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. Just explain exactly what it is. And Bob, Commissioner, sorry, getting too personal. Commissioner Barron, that's exactly what you just did. Exactly what I wanted you to do. And I know the other commissioners have spoke about why they got rid of her. And I think it's just our duty to get it behind us and let the people know. I'm not saying they're going to agree with it.
Your point is made clear, sir, and I thank you for it. Any other, Mr. Peterson, do you have anything?
Well, I can make a statement what I feel like, if that's what we're doing right now.
We have a motion and we have a
Okay,
support, and so we would just Maybe this would be item 14 on the agenda. And it,
Well, we have to vote on it.
well, we have to put it on the
Right.
agenda. Sure, but I mean, you get the motion and support, so I'm just asking additional discussion on the.
I have no additional discussion.
So for putting this all on the agenda item on number 14, I can't compel a commissioner to make a
No,
statement.
but that'll speak volumes if you're silent.
So all in favor of adding this onto the commission agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, it passes on a 4-1. This will be added as item 14.
Thank you.
Okay, now I need a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Barron, supported by Commissioner Melnar. All discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have an accepted agenda, commissioners. All right, presentation of written communications, communications received, communications forwarded. We have some.
No, we do not.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Yes, we do.
And we need a motion to put those on file.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Barron. Support by Commissioner Peterson. Additional discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that would pass. Okay. Reports of standing statutory and special committees and others. None?
Yes.
Yes, they're in your next column.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
you do have some? Go ahead.
we have the solid.
They're part of your board.
They're part of your board packets. This is Solid Waste Authority minutes, the Pinecrest Board minutes, Public Health minutes, Airport Advisory Board minutes, Human Services Board minutes, and Human Services Board minutes, or Township Association minutes.
All right, very good. I need a motion to put those on a file.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Melnar, supported by Commissioner Barron. Additional discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. You know, wait, opposed? That'll pass. Very good. Now it is time for the public to comment on agenda items. Please, we have Kelly Vangenhoven first.
Hi, good evening. Kelly Vangenhoven, City of Escanaba. I would like to address unfinished business number 3, hiring a municipal attorney. When reviewing the agenda packet, and thank you to Nancy for getting me this information today, I noticed the person you are discussing hiring is Scott Graham. After reading his information in the agenda packet, I jumped to his website, and on the website, it says he specializes in firearm offenses, tax fraud, farm fraud, Indian country crimes, drug offenses, white collar offenses, healthcare fraud, and child pornography offenses. Nowhere does it mention municipal law that I could find. Then I bit more and his name sounded familiar to me. So I dug a little bit in my past photos and I found a social media post by Anastasia Moyle. At that time, she was still Moyle, Commissioner Moyle's now ex-wife, that says, when Scott Graham, PLLC, comes in clutch, if you know, you know. That is all. But what's even more intriguing is the comment under the post written by Commissioner Moyle. It states, "This is just the beginning, sweetheart. For so long, people thought that we were talking smack. Now they know the legal team is real. They also need to know that the ball is started rolling and it's going to raise holy hell in legal terms." Now, keep in mind, Delta County currently has a municipal attorney through the MMRMA, Gregory Grant. He's vetted and has already won a lot of cases for the county. He also charges the same governmental rate, which Scott Graham offered in his letter. I would like to ask if Mr. Graham went through the RFP process like all other professional services the county has. If not, you would be in violation of your own procurement policy set in place. One has to ask, why do you need a new attorney? What is the real reason Scott Graham is being considered? Was the commission made aware that Mr. Graham had done work for Commissioner Moyle this past summer? This is a clear conflict of interest on Commissioner Moyle's part. He needs to recuse himself, and this needs to be voted against if brought to a vote. We have an attorney in place with a reputable record. In my opinion, the hiring of this attorney is not in the best interest of the citizens of Delta County and is merely to potentially pad the pockets of an associate to Commissioner Moyle. Thank you.
Thank you. That Mr. Kesbro.
I just want to say that I appreciate you guys putting number 14 on the agenda. That's what I wish to address you as. So I'll see you guys in public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any additional, we have Reed Hyken.
Chairman. The last meeting, Mr. View did an exemplary job following the instructions of Kelly Vangenhoven and Christine Williams to stall the work of the county board. What we witnessed was a carefully orchestrated soap opera with Steve View as the star protagonist of deceit. View was obviously sticking to a script coached by Christine Williams from both the audience and an act of intentional disrespect to the county approaching the bench during an actual meeting for instructions to View. View further attempted to stall the business of the county by lecturing the board and citizens about transparency. Mr. View unfortunately has misinterpreted transparency to mean a string of minutia attached to the provided to the community. Perhaps Mr. View would be better served with an actual definition of the word rather than the definition provided by his coaches. Transparency in government is the government's obligation to share information with citizens that is needed to make informed decisions and hold officials accountable. Inane dribble about specific lines items being paid used to stall government is the mirror of transparency, and when used to add time necessary to complete a meeting. Encouraging other commissioners to do the same proves the conspiracy. If a citizen wishes to know a specific item, a simple telephone call or email will result in the answer. Mr. View could do the same thing without turning an efficient 1 hour meeting into a near marathon 4-hour session. Mr. View's motivations were made very clear when his co-conspirators used the length of the session as the basis of a criticism of View, the chairman of the board. View further showed either unprepared or insufficiently coached as to the facts regarding the discussion of salary of the interim administrator. For the wording calling itself a businessman, he seems woefully inept at understanding numbers. Perhaps I can make it simple for him. Because Emily DeSalvo lacked the ability to perform financial aspects prescribed by her job as a controller needed to be a controller needed to be hired at an additional expense to the taxpayers. DeSalvo gladly took her full pay while doing less than half the job. Mr. Chairman, if the people are,
Please keep it quiet.
I trust that you're going to, Chairman, you're going to expend my time since I've been interrupted.
Continue, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, so I can continue the flow of my comments. Mr. Chairman, if the people are looking for a reason for her dismissal, along with her willful decision to not develop the necessary skills as agreed she was hired to, should be sufficient as to why she was terminated. Here are the numbers. The total cost for a county administrator, DeSalvo, was over $300,000, including the expense of controller. According to her contract, her cost should have been around $200,000. That is $100,000 wasted, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Next up, please. Folks, can we have some decorum in this room, please? Please. Yes, Misty. It's okay.
I'm Christine Peppin, former Delta County employee, taxpaying citizen of Delta County. Pretty impressed with Mr. Reed's knowledge of all our finances that other people can't get a hold of. With regard to number 14 being added, thank you, Commissioner View. I think the public has a right to know what each commissioner used as their reasoning to fire Emily DeSalvo, not some prepared whitewashed version. We want to hear from each and every one of you. What exactly was the foundation for that release? Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody had their hand up in the back, please, in the back. That's fine. Take your time, sir.
Good evening. My name is Mike Glass. I'm a resident of Delta County and a member of the Greater Nema metropolitan area. I want to thank Mr. Moyle and the commissioners for giving me the opportunity to speak. The question I have is it possible for the commission to hold meetings in other places? Now, I'm asking you to take this under consideration. Nothing for tonight, nothing in the near future, whatever. But it's a roughly 100-mile plus round trip drive if you are coming from Garden. If you are coming from the other areas in the county, it can be equally as large. I come from Nema and it's somewhere around 75 or 80 miles round trip. What I would hope is that you could consider utilizing township halls or something like this, perhaps one from each of the districts or the precincts, and hold your meetings there on occasion. This would provide the public an opportunity to be more participative in this action. They would have greater opportunity and access to the commissioners. And I firmly believe that the more participation by the community, the better the outcome. You, of course, will have to work out the logistics associated with that. But one of the things you might consider in this area, I mean, the major portion of the folks in Delta County live within 10, 15 miles of this particular place. It's the areas outside that I'm concerned with as far as having people have more participation. Weather should be a consideration if you do decide to have these things in some other part of the county, especially outlying areas to the north of the county. County roads may not necessarily be passable, et cetera, et cetera. So schedule those in better weather, if we ever have any, and items of this nature, times, things like that, which might be more amenable to greater participation by folks. If something particular to an area is on the agenda or anticipates being on the agenda, then you might want to have your meeting rather closer to the area in question. Now, I'm not suggesting that, and again, you'll do the logistics on this. I'm not suggesting that you go to the far extremes of the county in order to have these meetings. But just take a look at a map, look at population densities and things like this, and try to come up with satellite areas in which you could have people come to the meetings, be heard, and hear from you directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Glass. Comment on agenda items, please. Comment on agenda items. Last call, comment on agenda items. Zoom, sir. Oh, okay, very good. All right, moving on. Committee reports, administrators report.
On Friday, I spent time with our maintenance director and numerous bidders for the relocation of the utilities. Adam from Bice was present and he presented the project. We had lots of bidders from all over the area, and they also provided us ideas for cost savings within the project, which led to addendums. Once the project begins, the parking lot behind the courthouse will be fenced in. We are asking employees and the public to utilize the parking spaces near the old sheriff's department entrance, side parking of courthouse, and across the street near the upper Michigan law. Commissioner Peterson, Commissioner Barron, and myself met with the director, parks manager, and the Board of Conservation District this week to discuss what the county needs to run the park. They were able to aid the county on staffing and timeline of tasks that need to be completed. They believe the county should hire a parks manager by May 15th to job shadow if the county decides to operate the parks. They also offered to stay on until December 31st to show our new parks manager the tasks that needed to be complete after the parks close, if the commission wishes. In another meeting between the conservation director, parks manager, Commissioner Barron, and our IT director and myself, we discussed providing online reservations for the Delta County parks through CampSpot, and we're currently setting that up. I also had a meeting with the director and deputy director of Central Dispatch to discuss upcoming projects that need to be starting in the start planning. We also had a safety committee meeting. The Delta County Courthouse Safety Meeting met this week to discuss precautions to ensure the safety of employees. This is kind of coincides with the sheriff I talked about earlier and with the public during their time within the building. Our building is one of the most vulnerable courthouses around. Lots of ideas were discussed to assist in fixing these areas. I believe the next steps are to find financing, as in grants within our budget to start. We also discussed trainings to be conducted, such as active shooter trainings and fire drills. Our goals are to provide a safe work environment for our employees. The chair, emergency management coordinator, Lieutenant Dresha, and I have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow to discuss emergency management program in Delta County. I'm excited to attend this meeting to learn more about the emergency management programs and what we can and will be offering to our citizens of Delta County. Thank you, Paul Geyer, for setting this up. In March, I have scheduled a department head meeting to discuss projects or other items that are in the process and making sure that the administration is available to assist where needed. Due to the change in staffing, I want to make sure that nothing will fall to the wayside. I also was contacted by Senator Peters' office to solicit applications for congressional direct spending. This outreach helps prompt opportunities for further investment to Delta County. I have shared this information with all department heads and reached out to the UP State Fair Authority. I've already received a response back on projects that could be assisted by the CDS, such as the ones that have been mentioned during the dispatch meeting and with the UP State Fair Authority for emergency preparedness building. I'm glad to report we expect to fully take advantage of this opportunity. Also today, administration has decided to provide the agenda packets without rejected agenda packets to be distributed by email without a FOIA request. In order to receive these agenda packets, please go to the agenda and minutes tab on our website at deltacountymi.gov and follow the instructions to be added to our subscription list. Thank you.
Thank you. I need to motion, put that on report or file. So moved. Moved by Commissioner Barron, supported by Commissioner Milner. Additional discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. That passes. Personnel Committee. Of minutes or report.
Yes. We have a minutes that are attached onto your next cloud.
Okay.
We have 2 minutes. Actually, we had 2 personnel meetings.
Any comment from the Personnel Committee or?
Huh?
Well,
Go for it.
go for it. Oh, boy. Basically, we had one with the sheriff and I don't know if it was the jail attendant or supervisor for the jail. They were short an employee for a while, going to be short an employee, and they were looking to add one more employee temporarily to from 28 to 29, so they can keep the staffing up until some new recruits come out. And there's some retirement going on. It just made sense to give them permission to for a temporary couple of month period, hire an additional officer. That's what we agreed on. Right, John? You want to make comments?
No, I'll comment on this one.
Okay.
On the meeting that we had on March 2nd, there was 3 items. One was the administrator job description review. Ashley went through and got some places that we could start advertising. Chicago Tribune, the Green Bay Gazette. And there was for Mac, they also offer some help on finding an administrator. We did go through her the job descriptions. And what else did we get here? Oh, there was also something from NICO, which is the National Association of Counties. There's prices there for us to look at, see what we want to do. I also suggested that a couple years ago when we went through the applications, that we go back and look at the applications that were submitted and review them and possibly pick one of those people for an administrator also. But we got to get this process going. Second, there was the assistant building zone administrator description. We are still working on that, waiting for some answers from the union on her job and her title. And the third thing was the parks manager description. We had called in Steve Weary. He kind of gave us a pretty good idea what's going on with the parks as far as everything that he does. We also are kind of figuring out a way of getting our parks on how they were going to be run. We were figuring a parks manager, and he would have a part-time persons working with him. We were also going to hire a secretary or an office person to run the office, and that person would have several jobs, not only with running the parks, but we had some other things that were lined up, like helping Corey so we could keep her on full time. And the union was very agreeable with this. Let's see. Oh, on the parks, we're gonna figuring up an advisory board where we discussing.
Yeah, well, there were three possible ways to
Yeah.
go. It was kind of like the airport is, advisory board, but self-contained budget that they use their own budget like an enterprise fund. Ashley, you want to tell us what that is, basically how that works? So everyone's.
The enterprise fund is just standalone. They don't need money from the general fund. They will operate within their own means.
And grants and stuff like that.
Right.
The other one was an actual authority board, which would be like the Board of Health. I mean, I don't know which way we want to go. It'd be something for the commission to look at. And the third way would be like the road commission, where there would be an elected official from each of the districts representing the districts in the parks.
Another thing, when we're thinking about this, we're thinking 2 county commissioners and 1 citizen from each district. So it would be a 7 board member. And the manager would be the one that would run the meeting, and the board would have to agree or disagree with whatever they wanted to do.
Thank you, gentlemen. I motion to place an order,
So
place and file, I'm sorry.
yeah, motion to place these personnel committee minutes on file.
Moved by Commissioner Barron, supported by Commissioner Melnar. Additional discussion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that would pass. Finance Committee,
Make a motion the minutes be put on file. It's an agenda item under old business.
moved by Commissioner Barron. Place on file. We'll be discussing this anyway on old business.
So moved.
So moved by, or seconded, thank you, by Commissioner View. Additional discussion. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, this would pass. Okay, department head updates. Do we have any of our department heads here wishing to update?
Evening Commissioners, Paul Geyer, Emergency Management Coordinator. At your last regular meeting, Commissioner Malner asked about a cadet program for the volunteer fire agencies within the county. There are several departments that do have a cadet program. It's allowed under Public Act 291 of 1966, which is the Firefighters Training Council Act. For cadets to be involved with the program, they have to be between 16 and 18 years of age. And specifically within the act, it allows those 16 to 17-year-olds to take the state exam for firefighter certification for firefighting 1 with hazmat, firefighter 2 with hazmat, and then incident command and resource allocation, those courses they're eligible to take. And as you may know, a lot of the volunteer departments within the county have difficulty either recruiting members or maintaining them. People move outside of the community. The training takes quite a while. So this is one way that the departments, and it involves the public safety departments as well. They can do this as well, but it allows them to try to recruit younger members that may be looking to stay within the community for work. And it's a valuable way that they can serve their townships and their cities. So most of the departments that have the programs, they do have a policy that usually is provided by their insurance carrier. And the cadet programs or the cadet participants cannot participate in firefighting activities at the scene of an incident until they obtain that training certification. So they have policies and procedures that they go through, and just wanted to give you a little bit of more information on that. I do know that Escanaba Township Volunteer Fire Department and Ensign Township both have active programs, and that's where you may have seen a couple of the members that you were referring to.
Yeah, Ensign, they had two teenagers. One just turned 18, still in school. He's graduating this year. His brother is 16 and just started into the program.
Yeah,
and I thought it was very encouraging to see younger people coming in.
Yep, and it may show them that that's a career path that they may want to delve into further, or they may just want to continue serving their townships on a volunteer basis. But it's a great program and one that's.
And I just want to say one thing, and I want to congratulate this gentleman, Bob Stort. He was with the Gladstone Fire Department. He just retired. He had 48 years in volunteering.
I had the privilege of being Bob's fire chief when I was with Gladstone, and outstanding volunteer. And that's the kind of service that townships are looking for from their residents. He's been involved with firefighting his entire life, and he's already said that he's missing it so much he might delve back into it. So, but
I thought that was pretty remarkable. 48 years in the fire department. Incredible.
Yep. So unless there's any other questions, I just wanted to update the board on that because you would ask for further information.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other department head updates, please? Welcome.
I'm Sherry Godfrey. I'm the treasurer. And I just had 2 updates. One was that the 911 dispatch bank account, which previously had its own authority and own signers at the bank, has now been brought under the Delta County umbrella. So it is a Delta County bank account at this point. And then another thing is I am working with Ashley on a 5-year cash flow projection so we can get some of our funds invested. We currently have quite a bit in checking, and since interest rates have gone up, I'm just looking to invest more of that money if we don't need it right away.
Thank you. Any questions for treasurer?
No, thank you very much.
The only question I would have is, are we limited to our investments so we don't lose, or is there a risk? I mean,
There is no
what's the risk?
guarantee of
What-
Investing, however, we are restricted in what we can invest in, and they're pretty safe.
Okay, I just want to make sure that because I'd hate to invest so much and lose 30% or something.
There are certain money market accounts that will yield the same thing as a savings account. You know what I'm talking about, where you might at a bank get a very low percentage and you could get as much as 3 to 4%. And some of these, have those been considered, or are we currently active in those?
We have a money market account in pretty much all of our investment accounts, and we do leave money in there until there's something big enough to invest in, like, for example, a CD or something that's in the $250,000 range. So the money markets generally do have a balance in them as well.
And they're currently yielding what right now, do you know?
I don't know offhand,
Okay,
no.
so I mean, is
variety.
that something you would consider? The only questions, your pen's tapping, I don't know if somebody wanted to talk. Sorry, okay.
Go ahead, finish and I'll.
No, I mean,
one
so are we
comment.
looking at possibly a more aggressive money market account that would not have a high risk?
I think we're pretty well locked into what we can invest in.
Okay,
As a government agency, we can't really change that. On a plus side, First Bank just increased all of our checking account interest rates, but they were only at 0.5% before this, so the increase wasn't that great.
Commissioner?
She answered my question. Thank you.
Good. All right. Thank you very much for your service. Any additional department head updates, please? All right. Gone. General orders of business, unfinished business, the process of hiring a new administrator and where we're at in that right now. We have reached out to MAC and MMR or.
Right. I just need a formal motion to post these jobs. But I know the Personnel Committee is working on updating the job description. So would you rather wait until the Personnel Committee has the job description or?
Pleasure of the committee. Do you want to post now?
No. I don't want to post right now.
I'm asking.
Okay,
We'll hold-
I mean,
we'll hold
I can explain what.
Well, that's fine. It's just an asterisk.
Okay,
Commissioners,
We can-
anything else on this? Ashley, Commissioner Barron, look your wheels
Yeah,
rolling.
I think the job description, I think needs to be solidified and the whole board needs to review that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I did receive 3 job descriptions, one from Marquette County, one from Houghton County,
Okay.
and the other one was from
Chippewa.
Chippewa.
So we can possibly have that on the, which would probably require you guys to meet again. Correct. We can have that on the agenda possibly 2 weeks from now on the 21st.
I would
I
like
would think so. I
to,
think we can have a personnel committee here in the next 2 weeks.
I would like movement right away on it. It's urgent, but yet we need to take it slowly. And I really want the community to be involved in it. And I said it before and I'll say it again. I want 2 random commissioners, a random person that puts in the pool that we pick out of a hat or whatever you want to say.
Is this for the job description?
No, yeah, to hone in on the job description and put the value of the community into the job description. It's probably pretty canned description anyways, but I think there would be some value having one member from each of the 5 districts. Like I said, 2 commissioners.
Setting that up would be, let's move on it then as soon as, I mean, because if it's going to hold us up.
Well, I'm suggesting it. I would even make a motion after I'm done that we start this right away. But I'd like to finish my train of thought on moving forward with this committee. Also on the committee would be a supervisor position out of the county. So we have a top level person out of the county randomly, anyone that maybe nobody wants to be on it, but we put them in a hat, pick. They're on our committee. And then a subordinate of the county, someone that works in any other department that would be on that committee. Then you have a true group of people that can come up with a lot of good ideas. And I would like them to take it all the way to the finals of picking the best, 6 candidates. If we get that many applying, where it would be given to the commission and we would take over from there. As I thought about this, somebody mentioned to me that it's similar to what Bay College was doing, getting the whole community involved. Randomly from each of the different districts. And it takes away the transparency. Like if I say, I want you, and you, it's right out in the open. Nobody has a easier shot to get on, or there's no behind the scenes dealings.
I have a question for you because I'm getting confused.
Okay, so
It's all right. So you're proposing a committee to establish a job description,
Job description
and so you want a steering
and-
committee?
and, an ad hoc committee to do the job description. To also look at the avenues for advertising. I have a lot of information to add. I don't care if I'm on the committee or not. I would gladly, if my name was drawn, give my advice. And steer it all the way to the point where we have our top candidates and then have it turned over to the commission. You can hire a headhunter and that's exactly what he would do. And let me show you something. I have the complete manual on how to hire an administrator from MML. And that can be given to the committee members and they can start working on it. I figured you could get this up and running in a week.
Commissioners?
I do have some questions about this. Having served on the Bay Board's last presidential search committee as chair. The ad hoc committee as to what we're looking for in an administrator are these 5 people sitting up at this desk. You're talking about a committee the presidential search committee, as I was part of, was that the board determined what we were looking for. And the advertisements went out, candidates sent in their resumes, and that committee reviewed that. You're going to the point of bringing in the community to determine what we need for administrator, when in reality, that's our job here.
And well, in reality, we serve the citizens and what I'd like, each step of the way, then they can bring it back to the board. They can say, here's what our values are. And I kind of believe in my mind, it's going to be pretty much what me and John Melner were given already from other counties and other places that hire. It just gives them a say and some value in being part of this new pick.
As I am understanding it, and please stop me, both of you. You're proposing that we have a committee for not only developing a job description, but for helping to
Advertise.
look for the right candidate, advertise. And Mr. Barron has indicated that he thinks that this board has the ability to move forward with this, with, I assume, some direction towards administration. Is that correct?
Correct.
I don't doubt that. That's not the point of me doing this. The point was that we got the community involved, or we get the community involved. And to address Commissioner Barron's thing, we do have the final say. So each step of the way, when they come up with a job description, give it to the commission. If we have to have a special meeting, which if they get it quick, I would recommend we have a 20-minute special meeting to okay or add to it. I'm not saying we have to accept everything, but let them help us make that final decision with the values they have from each of the districts in the community and the employees. And there's 2 commissioners on there.
I understand what you're saying, but the reality is we were elected by the community to do these things. The basic, there's three basic duties of the board. It's to write good policy, hire good people, and monitor performance. Yeah, and that's what we're here for. And that's to determine what we need as an administrator is one of our key jobs.
And I'm willing to do it. I just have a different route to go there.
I will say this, Commissioner Peterson, do you have any comments, or Commissioner Melner?
No.
Commissioner Melner?
No, I like the way Steve's going about this. That way it would be more
Transparent for one thing.
Huh?
Transparent for one thing.
Yes, let the community know what's going on.
I've been doing this since 2010, and I've had the challenge of sitting through 3 or 4 of these, and they've all been transparent. There has not been one effort that has been not transparent in the hiring of whether it was Ryan Bergman, Phil Strom, Emily DeSalvo, or the next full-time administrator. I will say this, that out of those 3 efforts, I've never seen a board bring in a committee other than itself. And public input have very much, that's a fiduciary obligation to all of us. We are bound by fiduciary obligation to listen to the public and to invite what they have to say. There's numerous ways to contact us. I'm not against what you're saying, Commissioner. But it's going to take on a life of itself, and we've all said that we've got to get moving on this. So I believe personally, this board has what it takes, and seeking the public's input, whether you want to have a work session, that's fine. We can have a work session. But to set up another ad hoc committee for this, I've never seen it in the 13 years I've been doing it.
Well, that's why you got new commissioners, come up with new ideas and innovative ways to do
I don't
things.
think it's a bad idea, Commissioner.
I'm telling you what, I have a lot of feedback on this. I mentioned it like 3-4 weeks ago, and there's a lot of people that are supporting this type of thing. It's not that we're giving our power away. Our power comes from the people anyways. We don't have any power outside of what the people give us. And all I'm saying is this can move very quickly. I don't want to argue about what's better. I'm sure that the original way would be good too. I'm trying to do some little bit of healing here too, to show the people that they have value in their input. And the final say on every step of the way is not being taken away from this board.
Anybody in this board feel differently than the power comes from the people? People are the power. The people giveth, they taketh away. I don't think there's any one of the 5 of us that feel differently on that. They're the ultimate boss.
I'm not challenging that either. It was just made in my comment on why I feel the way I do.
Your gentlemen, moving forward, you want to set up an ad hoc committee, or do you want to just move forward, direct administration to do what we've done?
I want to make a motion that we set up that ad hoc committee under the grounds of what I talked about. At least
So we
try.
have a motion by Commissioner View, supported by Commissioner Milner, to establish, I don't know, an ad hoc committee, which is a steering committee for the purpose of hiring. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I want it clear from Ms. Presrocki. So
They do a lot of the preliminary stuff, and each step of the way, they will report it back to the board for the final decision on the job description, the outreach for advertising, where we send the applications, whether magazines, MML, MAC,
so
and so forth.
the motion is to establish an ad hoc committee for hiring a new administrator. Would you accept that? Is that acceptable for your motion?
Yes, it would be a 9-member.
Melnar, are you seconding that? Yes. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner View. I just want to make this clear. And supported by Commissioner Melnar. Nancy, do you have the?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, now we have additional discussion. So the whole thing's going to come down to, do we handle this ourselves, or do we establish a committee? And so we have additional.
Well, the discussion is it's still going to be handled by ourselves each step of the way. We're just getting input. Just because I sit in this position doesn't mean I know everything. Matter of fact, I know a lot less than a lot of the people. And just because we have an audience doesn't mean they can't add some value to help us make good decisions. And that's the way I look at it. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone, but in my heart, it makes sense to do it this way. And I respect however this goes. I'll be the voice of one, like all of us then.
Thank you, Commissioner. Additional comments? Gentlemen, anything additional?
If I may.
Yes.
I tend to Baron on this. I believe this is a board decision. This person would be working for the county, but mostly under the board's supervision. And I believe that making a committee and going through this, I believe it's going to lengthen the time that it takes us to get things moving.
All right.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
I don't know if I said it right, or, sometimes my mind goes faster than my mouth. So I think I said words that I really didn't say. But the board has the final say every step of the way. It is a board decision. It's just getting the community involved. And
I understood exactly what you were saying,
okay.
exactly what you were saying.
Yeah, but you made a comment that it's a board decision. That was your comment, and I'm saying, where did I say it was not a board decision?
I'm just looking at the length of time. I don't think can be done as quick as you think it can.
Where do you get, what makes you say that then? Because I do have a plan where this thing can get going with and be set for the next board meeting, probably 2 of the 3 criteria that we're looking for easily by the next board meeting.
I don't know what your plan is, sir.
That ad hoc committee of 9 people, you can probably get them picked in the first week. Got to make sure you got the right advertising out there for people to realize what we're doing. They meet right away. They have to be available and meet, so one of the commissioners would be chair of it. So that first week there's an urgency for that. But you still need to take it kind of slow and get the right input, that by the next meeting, if they have to meet 2 times or something, they can come up with that job description. They can also come up with outreach, advertising. All of that can be done within 2 weeks. It ain't, all right, I'll tell you what, we'll see what happens if we don't go which way we go, how long it's going to take.
Let me say this as the person who's going to be burnt in effigy if something goes wrong. You're talking about an ad hoc committee, which is fine. I'm not against that. But how do we place that? How do we advertise it? Because if we just pick nilly-willy, we're going to have someone screaming at us.
No, I already thought of that too. Radio, newspaper, and townships.
Okay, I understand that, but we're out. How long do we advertise for? 2 weeks? 3
1
weeks?
week. 1 week. You pick your committee in 1 week. I know it's kind of quick because we have an urgency here, but we also have a duty, in my mind, to get everybody involved.
I don't disagree with you. I think getting people involved is a fine thing. It's part of the democratic republic we have. It's just making sure that with 9 people contributing to a process, that's not wrong, but the potential for mistakes might be like getting cats to march in a parade.
Well, I also thought of that. I have the ability to get an attorney to volunteer their services to be the facilitator of it if we so need it. And that would be up to a commissioner to decide that. I'm not giving you everything. I'm just giving you my concept.
No, I'm not attacking what you're giving me, Steve, or Commissioner View, I'm sorry. Some of what you're saying, I think has a lot of merit, but I'm the one who's gonna be on the stack of wood as it goes up in flames.
No, you're not.
So, yeah, if something goes wrong, let's call a spade.
What makes you think that each one of us have the same responsibility? And if something goes wrong with this commission, I feel just as much at fault if it was a mistake by the people beside me. Okay, there's no one person to blame. It's the whole commission.
All right, I appreciate your candor.
Well, it
Gentlemen,
is.
we have a motion on the floor with a second to hire or to establish an ad hoc steering committee to hire our new administrator. Additional comments.
Not to hire. We will hire to help facilitate.
Okay,
The
that's
process.
my part of my. Nancy, could you please read the motion?
Before I read the motion, I do have something that states that we have to give at least 30-day notice prior to a meeting at which people are going to be appointed to a committee or a board.
Okay, thank you. As
looking at that.
parliamentarian, that's very
So,
valuable.
but, okay, I'll read the motion. It was moved by Commissioner View and seconded by Commissioner Melner to establish a 9-member ad hoc committee to hire a new administrator.
Duly noted in your concern. Anything else before we vote on this? I'm not calling the question if people have more to say.
Well, I think that what Ms. Brzezowski just read to us pretty much kills the idea that that committee would be set up in 1 week and and have an answer in 2. Seeing how we have to advertise it for at least 30 days.
Is that for all committees, every committee we ever make or do? Because I'm just asking if that's a
It's in
correct.
our rules of procedure. It shall be the responsibility of the chair of the board or his or her designee to notify all board members and to give public notice of all appointments to be made at least 30 days prior to the meeting at which such action is to be taken.
Appointment, how about volunteers? I know I'm playing on words, but I'm just asking.
Sure.
I would say that the volunteers are in our committees that we appoint. They're all volunteering, pathways, what have you, they are volunteering to be part of those committees. So volunteers, schematics here, that's covered in that policy and our procedures.
Nancy, can we have a roll call on this, please?
Sure. Commissioner Melner,
Yes.
View,
Yes.
Barron,
No,
Peterson,
No,
and Moyle.
No. All right, very good. Now, then we need to instruct Ashley. At this point, I would like a motion to instruct Ashley to start advertising, giving her that authority to start advertising with the various agencies or organizations that will get us the applicants.
I'd like to make that motion, but question is, do we have the job description down? They mentioned it isn't quite done yet.
All right, that's a good point, Commissioner. No, we don't. Can we wait until we may have to have a special meeting for this, but I would ask that the agenda or the personnel committee meet as soon as possible to start hammering that out, unless you have a rough draft that you would like to submit now. But both of you said you weren't comfortable with that.
Let's.
We need to meet one more time. We can have something very quick.
Okay, can you guys set that meeting up and let Ashley know, and then we'll have to
Let's go
probably
out
call
there
a
and have a
special meeting. We'll call a special meeting for that.
Absolutely.
So I still need, well, we'll wait until you meet, and then we'll be calling a special meeting. Anything else on this issue? All right, the interim administrator's contract. Commissioners, your pleasure. Commissioner View.
You have it all written, so.
I did a lot of outreach and I really don't want to play my hand right now because it puts me in an awkward position compared to what the other commissioners were trying to decide last time. So I'm asking if those that were willing to go through with that contract last time, give me their data on what makes them, what expertise do they have and what outreach did they do to get that information that was handed to us? And then I can go through my search and perspectives on the different issues that happened. And I'll admit, I made an unintentional mistake again last time. I made a motion, and it's nothing against Ashley, to fill that position with Ashley, because I thought that was the only one we had. And I did it without knowing there is no policy in doing anything other than appoint that person. And then we ran into these other issues. So
Anybody questions, comments, please, from other commissioners?
Well, we've had a contract presented by Ashley, and there's been some to and fro in that, and I thought the presentation that was put forward 2 weeks ago was well in line of what was taking place. And with these recent changes, I would still say it's well in line, and I would be supportive in offering that contract to be put into effect. I'd even making a motion to that effect.
So you're making a motion that we accept the contract proposed by our interim administrator.
Yes, the one that we've just worked on recently.
That motion has been made by Commissioner Barron. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll support that.
All right, that's supported by Commissioner Peterson. Additional discussion, gentlemen. Commissioner View, 2 weeks ago, you had asked for more time.
And I
Did
needed it. Yes,
That's okay. It's good to ask more time if you need more time. Stakes, so you don't need to go there.
yes, I do. My own personal.
Myself
reason.
available. I won't condemn you for making a mistake.
Thank you. I want the contract read right now. I want to know what we're signing. So I really want to know what's out there and I want it. Each word of that contract said.
Okay, I don't have the contract.
Neither do I.
Get it read, but let me point this out, and I would point this out to the public. Sorry,
I said it was just the points. The contract has not been written. It'll have to come back for signature.
very good.
It's just the points to put into the contract.
My point for the public to understand this, whether you agree or disagree, is when you look at the function of what we were paying for 2 employees, an administrator and a controller, we were $313,000 out the door per year. Now, that's your taxes, your FICA, your benefits. I'm not talking about worth. I'm not talking about personalities. I'm saying what we were spending as a county, what the taxpayers were paying for a controller, B, an administrator, $313,000 a year. That number is hard. You can vet it. It's not Dave Moyle talking. Right now, if we accept this proposal on the contract, the county is going to save $100,000 a year. Interim administrator that can control. That's a taxpayer savings of $100,000 a year, rather than looking at somebody's not worth it, yada, yada, yada. I'm saying in dollars and cents, you look at what you're going to save. And that's why I would like to support this. There's a couple of things that I talked to Ashley that she can give on the super majority. We talked about, we can X that. What she wants, is some kind of guarantee that she's stepping up to the plate to try to help the county. And if she doesn't get hired as admin, she's going to want a job that's equal to what she was doing. Why else would she put herself on the chopping block? And for us to, I can see where the concerns are of, a super majority determined. Yeah, that's totally acceptable. But we have somebody who stepped up to the plate and who's brought, I think, a very good business mind, a good numbers mind to the interim's job. And I don't think she should be penalized if she does not get hired for trying to help this community. Gentlemen, it's your call, any of you.
It has nothing to do about her being hired. It's the package. I mean, Mrs. Young, if I had her resume, she has remarkable skills and knowledge as the controller based on her academic credentials, 3 years working for the county. Her credentials also are absence of any experience in the administrative field. Education and work experience does not even support the human resource classification. But I don't know what that does. If it's how much time she spends on it each day, each week, each month. But I'm just giving you my evaluation of her credentials. She's very devoted, passionate and accountable to her commitment that we put her in place a month ago. It's not feasible for anyone to work 14 hours a day and do justice to either job. The metrics I received from, and it's not that I don't want her in the position. I think we have a justice to make sure it's fair for Ashley and also the taxpayers. My investigative resources, staff, employees of the county, professional business consultants, controller, compliance officers at the state level. And remind you, most of these people contacted me. I'm speaking for them with the ability to learn from them in a proper procedure. We don't have a policy. Human resource departments throughout the government, different governments. City officials, which are managers and human resource departments in different cities. MAC input, MML input, local constituents, they were qualified to, different laws, policies, and my own business experience of hiring and firing people. The interim task, what we did is we put the horse in front of the cart. What I was told that the county should have a policy. And I really think we should, even if this doesn't happen again. The policy should be basically individuals don't rate their contract. They do not rate a contract. The commission assigns a stipend for this position and allows people to put their name into the hat to be vetted for the position on their ability, so forth. It's non-negotiable. They're not supposed to be, this isn't me speaking. This is what I was told. But I just gave you the list of all them people, all them departments. You want me to read all 11 of them again?
Okay, you had mentioned them and I wasn't sure that was a point
This
of contact.
is my resource. I did my homework. The employee is not even supposed to perform any of the interim additional duties until the county approves the compensation. Because now we're in this position here where maybe everybody agrees that, $600 an hour or a week is fine. How much is it an hour? I mean, how much a day? What would it come out today for your wages and what you're asking for?
I'm asking for $384.62.
And your wages a day?
Plus my 56,000 a year. I mean, I don't have.
Which day is that? Can you break that down for me right now?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the person in the position. It has to do with the position itself.
So 215,
Plus 300 and what?
384.
Almost $600 a day. All right.
No, I did that based off of 5 days, not 7 days, because I'm only 5 days.
No, that's right. 35.
Well, no, but I mean, I still work weekends, but I just didn't base it.
It's not about, Ashley, it's not about you. I think you're great. It's just.
But can I correct this? I do have a degree in administration. I just wanted to clarify that.
Commissioners, is there any other, Commissioner Barron, Commissioner Peterson, Commissioner Melner?
I think,
I didn't know if he was.
you still got things.
I just
to say.
wanted,
I'm not done yet.
I apologize.
This was researched by me, unchanged in benefit package. The employee has the right not to consider the appointment. They told me an interim is assigned. They're the go-to person. They're the visible person in your community. Management, they have limited assignment. They keep the county in its sustained mode. And if you think I'm this smart to know all this stuff, I'm telling you, I'm not. This was actually very tedious getting all this information. Short-term county routine oversight. These are highly educated people telling me this. To ensure firm continuity of county functions. And I'm not saying they're not doing this. I'm just saying this is what they're saying. Optional issues that need tending make nominal to modest size decisions. If there's a hiccup, something's not functioning properly, put out the fire. realistic time management on both jobs can easily be done with one pay. Many administrators are administrator, controllers, and human resources, even to this day. 3 or 4 years ago, our county was that way.
It was advised by Tom.
I'm not questioning how we came to this. Because I think we do need multiple positions at the point I am right now of what I know. No sweeping changes. No difficult or tedious undertakings. It's like I said, we're supposed to align the stipend. Then you have your legal issues. They were.
May I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Because you got me confused. Now, we were talking about accepting her contract and. Sure, if you're.
I'm giving you information to
Yes,
see
I
if you're
understand
making
that.
the right decision.
I understand that. Okay, that's why I'm asking a question so I can make the right decision. And so
Okay,
I'm not
go ahead.
disparaging anything you're saying. I'm just trying to keep up with you. All
It's
right?
a lot. I can't keep up with it. I got 19 other pages here I could go through, but I
We don't have time to do that at a county meeting.
heard that.
Are you inclined not to accept the contract? Because I'm not really sure where you're going here. And
Saying,
that's fine if you are. I'm trying to figure out where you're at.
I'm saying it's not realistic what's being asked here, and it's not done properly in the realm of a policy. It didn't go to the finance committee. It didn't go to the personnel committee. We follow some policies and some procedures and other ones we don't.
Agreed.
We agreed. I don't want to be agreeing on something like that anymore. All I was trying to do is, you already made the motion, so I was giving you information that maybe we could not vote it in to the point where we can get a, no, you probably don't like this, but another 3-member committee to work on the policy when we have interim positions. So you have a standard of pay. Well, let me read the standards of pay that all these government agencies offer. And I don't want to do a lot of time, but I don't know any other way to do it. I cared enough so that I would, okay, private industries, most times there's no pay increase. They get a little bit of flex time with time off. These are not my suggestions. This is what happens in real life. You work with the human resource representative in calculating the appropriate interim pay increase. Stipend. You work, I couldn't work with Ashley because she has a vested interest. So I went to other people. Basically, a 5 to 20% increase stipend to the current salary. If she's very well qualified, that's up to us to decide, with her credentials, she can accept the higher rated position, which would be the administrator's salary at a 90%. Actually, who wrote this for me? It's exactly who wrote this. Did you write that?
I gave it.
Okay. The city of Escanaba intern got 90% of the city manager's salary, nothing else. Did not receive both salaries for city clerk. That was just given to me. So that's another option. Is let's see. I guess no matter what I say, I hope we all didn't make up our minds, but let me give you some statistics and maybe change your minds. The highest salary in Delta County in 2021 was 156,410. Internet lookup, not
You mean for employees or for just
the highest paid employee,
government paid employee?
county employee, Delta County employee. In 2021, statistics on the site said the highest paid Delta County employee was $156,410. No benefits. That's just the highest Number of employees, 147. The average salary is 45,256, and that's 3% the US average for them positions. The median salary was 4,700. Ingham County, 1,700 employees. That administrator gets 135,000. Livingston County, number of employees, 566. And remember, these are 2 to 3 to 10 times larger than this county. I have the administrator's name, telephone number, everything. They have additional, like a controller and stuff. This person gets 54,000. Marquette, everyone's familiar with Marquette, just up the street. 375 employees. The administrator is an administrator controller, 121,826. I think I gave you enough advice that you can make a frugal decision on whether to move forward with this or let me make a motion to send this to three-member committee.
We have a motion on the floor already.
I'm not making a motion. I'm just telling you what I would do if this didn't pass. I would recommend we have a three-member committee, 2 commissioners, member at large from within the county management, along with Mrs. Young there, to see if we can come up with something a little more fair for both parties. And it's my research. It's stuff that I felt obligated to find out, because when it first hit me, being an employee, I thought I wouldn't. It just seemed hard to understand why someone would want that much. And also I was told today that our last administrator got $40 an hour. Figure that out.
You mean your interim administrator?
Yeah, in interim. Somebody told me that today. So if you add it all together, she deserves a lot. She's highly educated in the bookwork part. Little green in the other parts. She'll gain a lot of credibility by filling in the position too. There's a lot of worth and value in her career moving forward to have this in her portfolio too. It's a great opportunity. I just hope I don't alienate the people that sit beside me or our interim administrator, because I feel already vibes that are not feeling good to me right now, because actually in the last week, I didn't hardly talk to anybody. I've always talked every day to at least one commissioner, and right now it's something that I'm not sure what's happening.
Thank you, sir. Are you continuing or? Mr. Melner?
I just added up just a dollar amount that what she was saying, and it's 151,200. That's not including benefits. Benefits usually are dollar per dollar, so it'd be over 300,000 for one person. Second of all, there is some legal issues for her to do both jobs. There is some legal issues.
According to whom?
For
with all
that.
due respect.
I can report on that because I checked into it.
We have the number.
Yes, let me find it. Give me a second.
Take your time.
No. Okay, here it is.
I got it in my email someplace. I was trying to find it. I couldn't
Okay,
find it.
okay. Okay, the legal aspect. Employees are deemed to be either exempt or non-exempt. You cannot negotiate whether a job is exempt or non-exempt. You cannot negotiate that. There are elaborate rules concerning these two designations. Exempts are paid a salary, a specific amount of compensation for work regardless of the number of hours they work. They're always higher pay. They get a secure paycheck. If they work 10 hours a week, they get the same paycheck. If they work 50 hours a week, they get the same paycheck. They got a lot of flexibility. They like that. And that,
Commissioner, I have a point of clarification, just so that we're all staying on the same point. I don't like interrupting you and I apologize. But it was based on Mr. Melner's statement.
this is the legal issues.
I
It's-
understand
it's-
that, but you're talking about the difference between an exempt and non-exempt employee with the IRS.
What is she gonna be?
I presume they're taking FICA.
I'm exempt.
Oh,
Oh.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Are
It's
you an
called,
exempt employee?
As my current role is controller and an interim. Even my controller position is exempt.
exempt employees have to manage others. See, what I'm saying is within the county, they're not eligible for overtime.
No. I'm not.
They have a hard, okay, non-exempt employees are on the clock, must be paid overtime.
Right.
Directly,
Get paid
they're
overtime.
directly supervised by higher ups. Employees can clearly cut their hours. You need, if misclassification or unsure, we need to seek legal counsel because you told me you were exempt as the controller,
Right.
but you don't have the duties of the exempt status.
Okay.
Is,
I mean, the job description was made prior to me even entering the county
no, it's the exempt or non-exempt.
and it was exempt under my job description.
I no, but is it tagged is what I'm saying, misclassified.
I would have to look and see what past administration have done. I didn't make the job description.
If I may,
Yes, sir.
Not sure, but from what I've been told, that up until the last two administrators, the administrators before were administrators, controllers. They did both jobs. And for, I don't know how long, but I would question if it was a case that they can't, well, then how did we manage to get through years and decades of having an administrator that did the controller also?
We, Mr. Bergman was administrator / controller. And everybody knows the history there. And
Everyone except for Emily was.
So-
It changed when Emily was hired.
okay, so our previous administrator,
Everyone.
And I think you were just talking earlier about, or somebody was about other counties that the administrator was the controller also.
It's still very prevalent. Yes.
So
we, in
Can
my,
I interject?
Yes,
You
please.
mentioned Marquette County, they have the administrator controller, but they have a director of finance. So even though my name is controller, my title, most likely those are, there's an appointed controller or a hired controller. And I'm the hired underneath the administrator controller. My job description doesn't exactly entitle what people think of as a controller. It's more of the director of finance. So I just want to make sure, because I know Marquette County had the director of finance, so they might not have a controller, but they have a director.
Commissioner Barron, anything?
Well, we've been going through a lot of different things here. I think it's, we have an interim administrator. I believe the contract is fair and I think we should vote on it. Oh. Yes, I am.
You're calling the question for Commissioner
Okay.
Barron. Is there support to that?
I support it.
Then Clerk Rocky, will you please give us a roll call? This would be on
Sure.
accepting. Can you please read so I don't mung it up? Read the motion.
Moved by Commissioner Barron and seconded by Commissioner Peterson to accept the interim administrator's contract.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Melner,
No.
View,
Present.
Barron,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
and Moyle.
Yes. All right, moving on to the next item of business, please. We have hiring a municipal attorney, and I do have some on that, and I would be happy to start unless somebody else wants to.
Well, nothing about it.
Mr. Graham is not a friend of mine. He did we need decorum in this room, please. Please, you'll have your opportunity under general public comment. Sir, you'll have your chance to speak, I promise. So, hiring a municipal attorney. I've had the gentleman represent me once before. He's not my buddy. The reason why, in my opinion, hiring an attorney with municipal experience, and he's got it, he works for this township, I think it's Bangor Township. He is the winningest attorney in the 6th district that I've ever seen. His curricular vita, his information's out. I don't care if we hire Scott Graham or if we hire somebody else. We need a municipal attorney. This has nothing to do with being ungrateful for what our prosecuting attorney is doing or any of her staff are doing. All right, but if she's they represent us, we could get hit with a conflict of interest. That was just brought up a couple of meetings ago, and that'll be coming on the docket in the future, just to let people know that we are hearing what you're saying. Scott Graham is not my buddy. If you can hire whoever you want to hire. Does provide municipal service. They have a tendency to like to settle out of court because it's a financial savings. What I would like to do, regardless of where this attorney hails from, is hire counsel to represent this board to help us protect the county taxpayer from frivolous lawsuits. And I think we've had a couple of them over the past few years. If you have an opinion on that, that's great, but this is not giving somebody copious amounts of cash to teach us Robert's rules. Please sound in. It doesn't matter where the attorney comes from. That person should be municipal and he should represent, or she should represent the board.
I may.
Yes.
When it comes, I've had a few dealings with attorneys over the years, and I find that specifically with attorneys, it's to find the attorney that knows the particular field that you need help in. And they tend to specialize in different areas, and that's pretty common in our society. We have people who specialize in administration. We have people who specialize in different aspects of the medical community, as well as many other things. So I think an attorney in the field where we need something is valuable to have. I understand we've used the prosecutor's office, and that's served it for its purposes, but their work that they do is focused on prosecuting, which is what it's supposed to be. And municipal attorney type law, when you're working in it every day, substantially different than prosecuting. It's to help with the different, what we run into is we've certainly been threatened enough times already in the last few months and what have you, about lawsuits and FOIAs and whatever else. And I think that's what we need, is someone who works in that area to give us the advice that we need.
Nobody's everything from our rules and procedures to activity within the Open Meetings Act is that a municipal attorney will be able to assist us with. But I'm not proposing that we hire anybody tonight. I brought it up for discussion. We can still use the MMRMA council. I firmly believe that might cost us some more money, but probably will save us a lot more money in the future if we ever are brought a lawsuit and we have somebody who's well-versed not only in the federal bar, but as a municipal. Gentlemen?
If I may,
Yes.
I just saw this letter show up on my email today. I perused it, but I didn't get the chance to really look into it. I would like a little bit of a chance to check into this attorney and maybe see if there's maybe there's another attorney out there. I don't know. But I would like to at least have till the next meeting to.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
Look
not,
into
I
this.
don't even, wasn't planning on anything then. Wanted to start the process.
Okay,
Somebody else might have a law team or, somebody you're experienced with, bring it forward, please. I just wanted to begin the process.
Was this something you looked into, Chair?
Well,
I'm just asking. I want to know where it came from.
Commissioner, this guy presented me once. I thought he was a hawk. He was very good. And I want the best I can for the county. That's not taking anything away from the prosecutor's office. I can't say that enough. All right. But I'm open to, anybody, well, Mr. Barron's has experience with attorneys too. So I mean, I'm open to your criticisms as well as your expectations and.
No, I was just curious, like what, is there a retainer we pay him monthly, yearly?
I wouldn't know that. I mean, this is just starting the discussion.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we should check into that.
Oh, absolutely.
And then, who has permission to contact him? That would be the other thing. Do we have a policy on?
I don't know if we have a policy on that, but that would be. If there is nothing and you want to look into it, I think we would do is instruct. Bring in other names, other firms, whatever, over the next month and just start talking about it. And then, see what the pleasure of the commission is, but I think that's a good idea, a policy on that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. And then I don't have to sit here and go through all the stuff I find out. The other thing is this going to be a Zoom attorney if we need something on the spur of the moment? We're
can't
not
speak-
paying for him to come down here because where's he coming from?
He, I think, resides in Bangor Townships, so it would be up here. And he has represented me on Zoom or my family on Zoom, but I don't want to put words in his mouth and I'm not gonna be accused of trying to campaign on his behalf. I, again, will reiterate this one final time. We need a municipal attorney with experience in the federal bar.
Just one comment. We had a attorney years ago, back in when I was commissioner in 15 and 16. And it was costing us,
Yes, it was.
100,000, 200,000. And I don't want to see that happen again. And we actually ended up putting him out for a reason. Because of the cost. And I don't want to go into that again.
Oh, Clerk Pizarro's got to come.
In the rules of procedure, we do have this item here that says, in the event a county commissioner deems that the service of legal counsel is necessary, county board approval is required prior to contacting the attorney. Additionally, the county board authorizes the director of administration and finance to utilize the services of legal counsel as required by the daily operations of the county business.
We have a policy.
Okay, great. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else before moving on? So, for the next meeting, if you want to continue this discussion with additional legal firms or other people, let's continue the discussion. New, finance policy. Commissioner Barron and Peterson.
Basically, we wanted to bring forward a new finance policy. And what we come up with was that anything that came to finance would be brought to the board at the next meeting and then for discussion and then tabled to the following meeting for a vote. That way that would give basically 2 to 2.5 weeks for commissioners or the public to do any research that they wish to do on the issue that we're dealing with.
I'll add to that, in the past, there's been finance committee meetings that were held on a Friday or a Monday before a board meeting, and we did get information as board members who weren't part of the finance committee meeting, but it would have been good that if we had more time to look at this, and that's what we're addressing here.
Yeah, and that would be, the standard practice. There is always something that comes up from time to time that would need to be dealt with on a quicker basis, but for the most part, anything that's not an emergency would be handled in that situation.
So do you have a rough draft policy or could you have one for the 21st?
Yes. We should.
So, that's fine. Then there's no action needed to this. You'll come forth with a rough draft policy and we can discuss this again on the 21st of March. Anything else from the commission regarding finance policy? Very good. Mr. Mattson. This would be the agreement to terminate, and this was, hopefully this is your satisfaction. This is the agreement to terminate the parks contract. Miller.
At your last meeting, I believe you guys accepted the letter for termination. What isn't in there through the discussion before that and at the last meeting from the public and others, that they were talking about this $100,000 that the conservation district got at the beginning of the fiscal year, which is a true statement. 75 for the parks, 25 for other services. And then also, as you well know, I believe at the last meeting, or could be in the meeting before, I get them confused a little here. There's so much stuff going on that 42,000 plus was also just given to the conservation district APR funds. So that puts that there. Plus we rolled over, and again, I'm not going to hold myself to this number, but it was close to $100,000 that we rolled over. So if you add it all together, it comes over to $200,000. I'm expecting, and I can pull that if you need the exact sense. Since then, obviously, we've had Steve Weary on. We've been paying his salary. We've been doing bills. But there was I guess, I'm not going to say, but criticism that if we left on the 15th, we'd take that money with us. Well, I guarantee that isn't the case. So this agreement here spells that out, that on the 15th, if we are gone, everything that's left, every penny goes back to this county. So that's the one thing in this agreement that you have in front of you. The other thing is until May 15th, I've had calls by 4 commissioners who want us to continue for 1 more year. Because the 120 days, my board originally thought that was plenty. Obviously, I can see now it wasn't, and my board did too. So the board has agreed that we will stay on for that year to try to help the county and new administration or whatever it is you do to try to get through. September 30th is a terrible time just to walk out the door because of basically that's when the parks are still open. They have to be winterized and all kinds of stuff has to be done, which usually is done pretty close to hunting season. Sometimes it's over that. And it depends on if there's a project that really needs to be done. The first part of December when the ground freezes is a good time to do some of those. So we've agreed to stay till December 31st and help transition this county. That's also in there because any contract that or agreement that would be signed to do that from now till the 15th. I'm guessing it would have to be in place by the 15th. Otherwise, it's just done. That also in this agreement, it says that can be done. So, and I know we haven't done any agreements yet, but that is something that we would work with Ashley and put together to present to you, however that's going to look like for your approval or refix it if you don't approve it. But the other thing is, we are moving ahead with a few things and we have to. Well, we're talking March right now. So as Ashley said, we did meet with Ashley. We have picked Camp Spot for the betterment of the county for the online services. And also, rather than move it through the conservation district for another year, if it's going to end up with the county, it's very silly to have it through the conservation district. It'll work that way. But we believe that for the county, it should be placed within the county. And we worked with Ashley on that. That's where it'll be placed. And also, it would be very silly because the way we've managed these parks, we were the entity, financial and everything that ran it. So everything went through our accounting system. If it's going to be turned over and you have an online now, which isn't local, then also that should go through the county. In other words, when somebody registers online, let's just use $10 because it's easy. That $10 goes to the county, not to the conservation district. And we know it's, it's used for the parks and they'll have a separate account. And also, obviously, there has to be a credit card associated with that online system. So also the county then, we've talked with Ashley and she's working on that, is to have the county's credit card or a credit card set up that is just independent for the parks. So I guess that's why we're asking you to do this. We're willing to give it some more time. But we basically also know what it takes to run these parks now, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And that's not just the maintenance. That's the actual management of the liability, the administration and everything else that goes with this that I don't hear much talk about. Because probably people don't know much about it. It just doesn't run on its own. And how many people we've had to bring in for that. So the question is, we know how to run it. We're willing to help one more year, push that through. But my board, we're not going to get set up that this is the way it's going to be. And then you guys run it and watch it fail. I think since we've been running these parks, all you have to do is look. The amount of grants that we wrote, the other things that we brought into this county, it's all been solid positive. And I constantly hear, oh yeah, they're in great shape, but well, we're not putting up with the buts anymore. The bottom line is, I think anybody can drive through these parks and see where they're at. So basically, you know, I've said for years, anybody thought they could do better, the keys were always on the table. And I think they'll find out how many hours people put in to actually do it. And Commissioner View was right, bringing up exempt and non-exempt, because you better look at that very closely when you put in county employees to find out who can do what and who can't do what. So that's going to be a huge item. And we've had to deal with that. So we spent a lot of money with attorneys trying to figure out exactly what that is, what all the labor rules are, what the volunteer rules are in the state of Michigan, and all those type of things. But we have that experience. So we're asking for you guys to approve this for the only reason of to get us to the 15th of May or before that and bring you a 1 year, because the 10-year doesn't make any sense. It would end, if we did it the way everybody's talking, it would end on September 30th. But the other thing too, is in the year, there's things in that 10-year that should be brought forward and things that are just left for the county to do later. But it will specify exactly what we are supposed to accomplish by December 31st. And without that, you know, we can say, well, there's another 9 years, and we don't want to do that. We care a lot about these parks and the county as a whole. And I think we've proved it over the years, not only in the parks and other things, but all over this county, bridges and buildings and sewer systems and everything else that you guys have approved, at least the support letter. So the point is, we're willing to continue, but obviously we need your assistance to do that. And we have to be able to do it so we don't fail either. Somebody can't come in not knowing the whole how it runs and say, you need to do it this way. That's a failure waiting to happen. And I don't think the county wants it either. So we're asking for approval of that, and that's the reason.
Let's get a question. On May 15th, is that contract till the next May 15th?
No, December 3rd. Well, we haven't written it yet, but we've all talked December 31st to take it past. And it can be any date that you want.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
December
What would
31st.
be the optimal date that the parks would be
December
closed?
31st.
Okay, there's no activity in November at the parks?
There could be some.
Like what?
Well, basically, depending on what gets winterized and what doesn't.
Okay,
If it's
okay.
not winterized correctly, you will find out. And we found out the hard way. that
No,
when
no,
you
I'm-
Turn on the water and the lines are under the ground, right? So if anything happens there, that's just one thing. And the septic tanks and the sewer system that's at the park. But what happens is when you turn on that water in the spring, we don't know for a week or two if there's a problem. And then what happens is I call them little old faithfuls, because the water will get in, saturate the ground enough. Otherwise it starts to go down, saturate the ground enough where it comes up. And then you see these little bubblers. And then you have a problem because you've already went to the health departments and you've got the water tested with the DEQ and the whole shot. And if you have to get back into that system, right, to repair that pipe, then you have to start all over. And every one of those tests takes a minimum of 3 days. And you got to do 3 tests. So it's not like you can just say, oh, we got a leak, you know, dig a hole, de-water, cut the pipe, flop it back together with glue, turn it on, say everybody can drink. You're not allowed to do that. So there's a lot of stuff, but by December 31st, I can't imagine, Commissioner View, anything needing to go past that the county can't take.
What happens if we, I mean, that would be the absolute deadline, December 31st with your board,
Well,
correct?
yeah, because I'm guessing that.
Well, no,
you know,
but my
everything here, you guys are gonna take it over.
okay, but
so-
what my question is, what happens if we have everything in place, if we move methodically to have whatever we decide to do with the parks done by October? Could there be a clause in
They
there?
don't close yet.
No, but I mean, if we're willing to ready to take over 100% at that time, could there be a clause in that contract that if we have our, whatever type of board, structure set up, employees set up, hired through the
Not
county?
from our point of view, and I'll tell you exactly
Okay,
why.
that's
I sit
why-
here at meetings, all these meetings, and you've sat here since January. And everybody accuses you of everything, right? And most of them don't have any idea.
No,
how
I know,
everything
that's why I'm
runs, or
asking.
what the background to anything was and da, 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 da. We just dealt with a 35, 37-year-old screw up before. We understand exactly what would happen. If, let's say we do August, let's do September, we do October, and we leave, something happens. It won't be the county's responsibility, will it? It'll be that district did it. Rory Matson did it. And that's exactly what we see coming.
Well taken.
And I think you understand from all people.
I was
everybody
just
you talk
asking
to.
in case our personnel committee and the board looks at something and say, hey, we're all set to go. That's.
Yeah, and really the idea is, that's why I brought to you, it'd be easy right now to hire a 1-year manager for the administration. And then keep Steve on in the maintenance, because Steve told me the other day, that's what he wants to do this year either way. He's going to stay on with the district if this gets agreed to and we stay there. He likes what he's doing. We work good together. So basically, but when it comes to fall, then my guess is, from what I heard, he would move over to the maintenance position. You would have a manager for administration that is county already, and just continues. And that was the idea of trying to teach that individual, he or she, everything about it, from the liabilities to the administration, this camp spot too. You have to be able to control this program. And I'm guessing interim administrator or administrator is not going to have time to jump into camp spots. And really, your parks are big enough now that 2 full-time positions should be hired in those parks. And I met in the winter, they can do something else. I think some of we've built picnic tables now, or Steve has, 20 of them. Guess we could build another 5 and another 5. And besides the snow plowing, but you guys also own the UP State Fairgrounds, correct? And I know there's things that need to be done. His expertise, construction, maintenance, carpentry. So I called Vicky Mishaw here, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, and asked her if, they could use Steve to come over and do anything right now, because he's kind of lax, and that would be a good thing. And so he's been over there, looking at their buildings, kind of moving on, for the reason of they are owned by the county. And I know in maintenance too, I'm guessing in the winter, the people could come over and they could plow snow or whatever it is you guys have to do. But we feel that would be a good turnover part. We'll get it to the point where we're confident that we're not leaving any problems to this county, one way or the other. And just have a real nice separation and county move ahead. That's what we're looking at.
Additional questions for Mr. Mattson, please.
Well, if there isn't any, I'll make the motion that we accept this agreement to terminate the parks contract.
We have a motion by Commissioner Barron,
I'll support it.
supported by Commissioner View. Additional discussion. Yeah, thank you again for really for what you've done for the parks.
That's no
And
problem.
hopefully
It
what
was
you'll
for
continue to do.
the county and the people.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
I
This
oppose.
passes. Okay, voted 4-1. Commissioner Milner opposes. New business, we have the payment of our bills, please.
I've examined all claims presented and recommended payment of the following, and that the county clerk be directed to issue orders on the county treasurer to the claimants for the amounts allowed. The total remote report of claims is $468,210.52. Commissioner expenses are $294.56.
Very good, gentlemen. Commissioners,
I move to pay the bills.
moved by Commissioner Barron.
I'll support.
Supported by Commissioner Peterson. Clerk Rocky, can we please have a roll call?
Melner,
Yes.
View,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
and Moyle.
Yes. Our bills are paid. We have the bid opening now. You're all gonna get a chance to see this, but before we just start discussing it openly. Corey wants a chance to look at this. This is for the bid opening for the courthouse utility relocation, so. I'll be passing these along to you if you're interested. And then Corey, you can pop up and. Commissioner Miller, will you announce that, please?
I believe it would be this one right here.
Go ahead.
And this would be from.
Well, take a look at it. Go ahead.
Very nice.
We're going to announce each one.
We're gonna. Yeah. Announce who it is. Who wants to make sure.
Corey,
Yeah, run over.
I just want to make sure this is. This is the Roy Ness. This is alternate. So are we going with this or this?
He's got, that's what he's looking for right now. You want to, well, it's gonna be easier if we just set for them at the same people want to see them or however we want to do it.
Keep those separate from those.
Who submitted those?
Yep. Chair should. All right, well, it's hard if it's not large. Go ahead,
Okay.
Vice Chair.
All right.
So, Commissioner Barron, please, name who submitted.
Okay, this is pertaining to the courthouse boilers and chiller. I believe it's Prime.
Okay.
Prime Mechanical and. Excuse me here, I'm gonna look at these every day, but
Yeah, maybe that's gonna be better off to spot him than I.
yeah, well. Looking for the,
They're gonna,
Go ahead, sir.
each one of them's gonna have. Two of the mechanical contractors, one of them is prime contractor, and one building contractor, one of them is prime contractor.
okay, these. Corey, with these, is this what we're talking about for a bid, right? That base bid.
You can see this too.
Needs to be the totals. This one here.
That's an alternate that could be heat up, that's why I wanted to look at them. Everything, so.
Okay, what, who wants to look at this before you announce this? Maybe we should. While we're doing more business to the board, come back.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Me and Rich are gonna look at them in here and then. Make sure.
All right, so we'll pass this off to our department head
Corey.
and we will come back to this.
Can you let us know which ones are local too? Yeah, just in case.
Just put them back in the envelopes, Commissioner. No, she didn't, not yet. Was it passing that?
You're gonna have one from Roy Ness, you're gonna have one from Prime Mechanical and one from Berger.
Okay, there's a fourth one too, so I guess.
Yeah, there's this one here too.
That's.
I've seen those strange.
You can announce that one, that's our control contract.
So you want to do this all at once after you look at the other one?
We can, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we'll do that all at once after. What we're doing is we received 4 bids. Our department head asked to look at them, so he's going to give us his opinion on what's going on. They'll be announced publicly very shortly, but they've got to look at a few things. The third next order of business will be coming back to item number 2. Item number 3 would be general liability and property insurance request by the UP State Fair Authority. Vicky, thank you for coming.
So simple.
That's great.
Hide from that
I
word.
promise. So thanks for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for getting this on the agenda so we
Thank
could
you
talk
for your
about.
service.
I think it's absolutely our pleasure. You know that. So you should have gotten background information about our request as far as Commissioner Peterson brought this forward after we met as a new member of our UP State Fair Authority. What had happened was our general liability and property insurance for the fairgrounds increased by about 20% in 2023 over 2022. We requested quotes from 3 insurance agencies across the country. The lowest bid resulted in a premium expense of about 51,000, a little over 51,000. One of the agents that we talked with at one of the fair conventions suggested that we talk to the county to see if there was an opportunity for us to work with your insurance agency and perhaps, include the property and our general liability on your plan. If you could get that quote, and of course, if it was less than what we were paying, then of course, we'd ask to be folded under your policy. Of course, we would pay the difference, so there would not be any expense at all to the county. So our ask is just that you would look into that and see if there is that opportunity for us to be included in the county's policy.
Commissioners?
You can make the motion to check into it.
I'll support that.
So we have a motion to ask administration to check into this. We have by Commissioner Peterson, we have support by Commissioner Barron. Additional discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That would pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you got one more item?
I
or-
do.
Oh, great, very good.
Okay, and I want to just comment on the item that you just discussed. I do think that this is a great opportunity for us to look at other ways that we can do some cost sharing and help both of our financial resources, right? And then last year, we had submitted a grant request to the grant that Ashley spoke about as far as rehabbing the Ruth Butler Building. And it is a designated emergency shelter in Delta County. We were not successful last year. We were encouraged this year to apply again under the emergency management funds that may be available. And you kindly sent us a letter last year. We are looking to have the exact same letter presented to us with the date change of today's date.
Thank you for the work that you do, obviously, in this. Commissioners, somebody makes the motion on this or questions?
I would make that motion.
Commissioner
I'll support it.
Peterson makes the motion. Commissioner Barron seconds the motion. Additional discussion, commissioners. Very good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That would pass unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Item 5 is the Ethics Committee. There seems to be some confusion on that, and again, we brought this up specifically to let you know that whether you agree or disagree, people are listening. All right. There was some confusion on that. And history of the confusion is laid out in the meetings. The Ethics Committee has stayed on our rules and procedures. It has not been stricken or removed. And so that's something I'd like to point out. Regardless of my personal beliefs on this board staying away from ethics concerns simply is based on the fact that that committee could forward something on to the prosecutor if they thought it was criminal. But the committee has no teeth in it as far as punishment or recommendations. This board, it's still on our rules and our procedures. That was never taken off. We had moved to send it to the state, realized that that would be dealt with a deaf ear. And so we backed off of that. It still stayed on our rules and procedures. Gentlemen, Commissioner View, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I asked for this to be put on just to reaffirm that the Delta County Employee Handbook and Policy and Procedure Manual is followed, including the ethics standards starting on page 27 to complaint and procedure process all the way to 33, because like the chair said, Commissioner Moyle, there seems to be a lot of misrepresentation on our ethics procedure, and it's written in this policy book. So I just want to get a vote on that. I move that we reaffirm this policy procedure for the county.
You acknowledge that it's in the book.
Yeah,
Sure.
from page 20, the ethics standards and the procedure for complaints with commissioners and everyone all the way through to page 33. Actually, the whole book, but I mean, I just highlighting that part of the book that we do have that ethics procedure in here for employees.
Very good.
I move that we reaffirm that policy as written, so that the public knows that we're standing
We
by our
acknowledge
policy. Yeah, acknowledge that, yes.
So we have a motion by Commissioner View.
I'll support it.
Okay, supported by Commissioner Peterson. Or an acknowledgement of the existing policy from page, well, just so the whole book.
Yeah, the whole book, but the ethics policy is in them sections if people want to FOIA it or look at it or something.
We have additional discussion, gentlemen.
Yes. I've read through this. As we came again, as I read this, in the last 2 years, I've read it, so that been reviewed here. I've stated this before, ethics is determination of a moral character. And in this ethical standards on page 27, under ethical standards, the first paragraph says it shall be the duty of persons to whom this code of ethics applies to observe the highest moral principles in all official actions. The question of morality is the highest, as it says here. Well, there's only one source of the highest, and that's from God, and that's from His Word. So that's what this is referring to. And so, I don't have any problem with that. I would just suggest, though, that those that would be filing these complaints or threatening to, or whatever, so whoever would decide to want to do this would realize that they should be holding themselves to that highest level of moral principles and know what those are. And if you believe that we're in some sort of violation, as has been implied a number of times, that you need to back that up with reality of what the truth is and understand what moral principles are. As former President John Adams said, that our Constitution and our form of government was set up for a religious and moral people and can serve no other. So this is not only the elected officials. Even we have a handbook for the elected officials, but this is for the entire citizenry. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else, please? Commissioner Melner? No, Commissioner Peterson. All right, if you vote on this, you've got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Commissioner. Hopefully that'll put to bed any confusion regarding this. All right. We have an appointment to Pathways. Do we have any applications there?
We did have an applicant, but I am requesting to table this as we have an request in with Don Mercier, who is on Pathways, to check and see if the applicant had a conflict of interest.
Well, can I have a motion to that?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Barron,
Second.
second by Commissioner Peterson. Additional discussion. Gentlemen, all commissioners, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That passes. We will table this until administration gets back to us.
Thank
Please.
you.
Thank you. All right. The renewal of the administrative assistance stipend starting on March 1/4. That would be Tracy. Is if I'm correct.
It's just there, we approved, the commissioner approved her stipend for a month, and the month
Agreed.
will be ending on the 14th. So just threw it on there.
What does she do different than what her job description was for our administrator before that she's doing for you? That she wouldn't have been done for the other administrator?
I think just the volume of workload that has come upon us since the change in staffing has changed. We've had 42 FOIAs since the first of the year. There's just a lot.
Who does the FOIAs?
It's between, I'm the
Brandon?
coordinator. All three of us.
Okay.
Brandon does all the email searching. Tracy does all coordinating, putting it together in a packet. I review for redacting. I mean, there's just so much. We've added on a new department
Well,
and it's just so much. And then also now we have a change in staffing.
okay, I'll make it short, even though I did research on it. You don't pay someone that's already compensated for doing their job to do their job. Because if you look, you sent out her job description and her job description is to help you out. Okay, I mean, that's just my opinion right now. And also, if we did compensate someone, if other employees have work duties that they normally didn't do, that are exempt employees, so to speak, by the law, they should also be compensated when they do extra work at the same time. And we don't have a policy on this. And the rate is literally way out of line compared to what other cities and that have done, because the most I've ever heard another city given an assistant to help out in an interim for the extra workload was like $2 an hour was tops. And this is 5 times that.
I just took what past interim Tom Sauber requested for her.
Well, that's fine, but I don't look at,
So it was
If it
past
were-
practice to me. It might not have been a
yeah, but it's out
policy.
of line. It's
But
actually
it's-
out of line for the budget of our county and for the taxpayers to pay someone an additional $10 and we could hire someone for that temporary.
Okay.
In my opinion,
We're asking.
I mean,
I was just explaining where I came from. I didn't pick numbers out of the air. I just went to past.
Once I got all the
last time the interim was,
well, once I got all the information from you that I requested and I read the job descriptions of what this
right.
person was supposed to do, it was supposed to do exactly what we're paying her to do again. And
Right. Mr. Peterson?
I mean, I would move that we give her a $2 stipend per hour for another month. Which would be right in line with other communities that are in the same situation. That was the highest I could find,
We have a motion by Commissioner View to give Tracy a $2 stipend per hour for another month.
I'll support.
Supported by Commissioner Melnar. Additional discussion. I have some if you have no more, or if you would.
Go
yield.
ahead.
Okay, for those of you who, this is your first time going through this, obviously Commissioner Melnar is not. I've been through it before. Says, keeping personalities aside out of this, this employee has been doing this since 2007 and has been a firm rock in positions of transition, which I would submit has saved the taxpayers money. There's no manual when we lose an administrator or when we change administration. So people have to step up, and she stepped up in the past, and she's, in my very strong work helping facilitate transitions. And so I salute the work that you're doing. I do. You're looking at me like I'm not, but I do. I like your thoroughness. But I think Tracy's worth what she was asked for, or what we asked for. Go ahead. Anybody else, please?
Well, I'm in agreement with that. This is, as Ashley said, we have a historical basis here, and she's doing a yeoman's job. And I think the person who's doing the job needs to be the workers worthy of their pay.
Commissioner?
Not doubting your testimony on how good our workers are. It's just unrealistic to be doing this kind of increases for something they're already compensated to do. It's almost like another full-time employee wage.
Commissioner Melnar, your wheels are rolling.
Tracy. It would be very, very hard to replace her. And she does an excellent, excellent job. But to pay her an extra $10 an hour. I think it's just kind of way overboard. That's about it.
That's very good. Mr. Peterson, anything? Mr. Barron? Well, we have a motion on the floor, by Commissioner View, supported by Commissioner Melnar. You have a roll call on this, please.
Sure. Melner,
Yes.
View,
Yes.
Barron,
No.
Peterson,
No.
and Moyle.
No. Okay, which begs the question then, will we entertain a motion to take what administration has put forward?
I would make that motion and the timeline will be until we put on a full-time
Full-time
administrator.
It's a move by Commissioner Barron to accept administration's request until we have a full-time administrator. I would need a second if it just go any farther.
I'll put it forward.
All right, Commissioner Peterson, we have a motion by Commissioner Barron, support by Commissioner Peterson. Additional discussion, gentlemen. Or commissioners.
I just wish everyone would do a little research like I did. I spent a lot of time the last 2 weeks and this is not customary. This
I need
is,
it quiet in the room, please.
sorry.
No, you're not fine, sir. Don't apologize. I'm just wasn't talking.
Well, no, I thought you wanted me to be quiet.
No. Don't go there, please, Commissioner. Please don't go. I'm just politely asking that people not step on, when you're talking.
But all our employees do good work. They all deserve whatever the pay scale and the policies of our county recommends for them. Additional workload for exempt employees is not customary. I mean, money. It's not written in the rules. And I think this is just, it isn't needed. Especially for a rate 5 times more than any other place that I researched gets.
I will add one comment to that, having seen this several times in the past. If we are penny wise and pound foolish, we could be setting our taxpayers up for something that could be very much more costly. And I respectfully disagree in this situation. Anybody else?
Yeah, explain that to me, please.
Want me to explain what I just said?
Yes, I want you to
Very
explain
good.
how that relates to somebody being paid as an exempt employee.
If you want me to explain, let me explain. It's very simple. You asked for an explanation. I've seen this go numerous times in the past. This is not going to be for the rest of this year. This will be for as short a period of time as we can. We are asking this person to take on an additional amount of stress. She's done it exemplary in the past. My point of penny wise and pound foolish, I like the price tag of $2 an hour a hell of a lot better than I do what administration is proposing, but she does the kind of job that could prevent, hypothetically, a lawsuit with FOIA, any number of things. That's my point. Whether you and I disagree on that point, but that's my point. So I yield the floor. May we please have a roll call?
Melner,
No.
View,
No.
Barron,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yep.
and Moyle.
Yes. All right, very good. The appointment, and I think we can have number 8 with A, B, C, and D all done at once, which is the appointment of Ashley effective 2/14/23 to the Delta County Dispatch Advisory, also to the Superior Trade Zone Second Alternate, also to the Superior Watershed Partnership Liaison, also to the FOIA Coordinator. So this would be housekeeping and appointing our interim administrator to these positions.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Commissioner Barron,
I'll support.
supported by Commissioner Peterson. Additional discussion.
Yes, thank you, Ashley, for mentioning about the FOIA situation where we're getting inundated think that's probably a little bit too light a word for it. It's fine that citizens are interested and wanting to get this information, but I believe when this before I first started, I don't think they envisioned that it was going to be used this heavily. And I think it's something that we should look to our legislators and as an example of seeing what this is doing and what the cost is we're incurring through these. Just a thought about that. Anyway, as far as the FOIA situation, it is when you get 40, we've had 67 days in this year, and you've had 42 FOIAs. That's a little bit much. So anyway, I think this is something we need to look at and talk when we see our representatives or state senator mention this, and as if this type of thing is happening across the state, that it may need to be addressed.
I have also talked to MIRMA, Representative Darren Hunter, to have trainings done for FOIA coordinators, because the last time we had a training, I believe it was 2020. So
That's a good idea.
yeah, he's talking about having one late summer.
Sure. We have a motion on the floor with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. This motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mattson. We have talking about easements. A and B. It would be was it Lime Great Lakes Timberlands LLC, and then B would be Lime.
This is Tim George from Statewide.
Thank you, sir.
He's representing Lime. You guys all have this, so try to make it real easy. This right now, if you go to the county forest, when you come up the main road off Truax, you go a mile and then you get to the county forest. When you hit here and you basically go north, and obviously it goes west quite a bit, you follow up here and then it circles down. It's not only, and again, Lime Timber Company is Mead, Plum Creek, Warehouser, and now Lime. So everybody knows what it is. So this easement has always been here. There's also camps and other private property here. So there's quite a bit of, traffic. Well, there's not a lot, but there's traffic there that goes to these other places. So this easement exists. So this road is always open. What happened though, when the county went to buy the timberland from, it started with Plum Creek, but I believe Warehouser signed the contract. Is that so? And I just heard about this when I got it to you guys. Tim asked me to bring it forward. Section 32 is where they own land. That 32 was omitted. So going to the east, there's a whole bunch of sections. But on this one, there was 29 and 32.
32 is the one that got neglected.
So it got neglected. Why there's two? Yeah, omitted. So all they're asking is that 32 be added. So it's not going to change the easement. It's not going to change anything that's going on. But why there's two of them is similar to, if anybody grabs a plat book in the past, you'll see, I believe, a long time ago, Escanaba Timberlands. And then they had some that said Mead and some said, so it's just, so this 40 right here, so you should have two maps. This one is Great Lakes Land Company, that 40. And then the other that are in 32, which you should also have, that was submitted to you guys, which is, where we got 740s, 740s. That one's under Great Lakes Timberlands. So same company, just different name ownerships. So it'd be no different than if Commissioner Barron owned one and he had Commissioner Barron on one, and well, you wouldn't want that, but Commissioner Barron on one and Robert Barron on another. So that's kind of what's going on here. Same ownership, same this. So there's two easements, but it's still the same darkened in line. So basically all they're looking for, and we hope we could explain it real easy, is that 32 would be added to the easement that was signed with the county. That's it.
Commissioners?
I'd make a motion that the easements for Lime Great Lakes Timberlands and Lime Great Lakes Land Company be approved.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion, Commissioner Barron, support from Commissioner View, additional discussion.
Yes, I would just like to let the public know that I spent some time going through this and it was explained to me quite thorough and it just makes common sense because they could use that property anyways, the way they want to go right through there. So we might as well work with them. I think it's a benefit for both us and the company.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion on the floor with a second for passage. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This carries. Thank you, sir. Do we have back from our
That was the A and B, right?
Yes. Okay, yeah, sorry about that, sir. Do we hear back from Corey yet, or do we still need more time?
It's item number 12.
Pardon me?
It's item number 12, the award, the bid. Unless you want to hear from him now.
Oh, okay. Item number 10 then would be the additional temporary corrections officer position. Do we have backup on that?
So that was what was brought to the personnel committee. And that was spoke about earlier when the sheriff needed a 2-month temporary position. And the personnel committee approved that or recommended that to the board. And we would just like approval, a motion on the floor for that.
Very good, commissioners.
Make a motion that we approve the temporary correction officer's position.
Moved by Commissioner Miller,
Support.
supported by Commissioner View. Additional discussion. And this is obviously very important. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This carries. Thank you. Okay, so now we have, you want to wait
We
till
have
item 12 for these?
This one should go by fast too, the parks manager.
Okay, very good. Item number 11 is Parks Manager Job Description Development. Commissioner Melner or View, please.
So personnel committee met with, well, it's just me and John Melner. But we are honing in on what the job description would entail by the input from the Soil and Conservation District and the person that's running it now. And he handed us, what was it, about 2 legal sheets of all his duties and responsibilities and requirements that our parks needs. And we just want to codify it down to a manager's position of what this person will be responsible for our county, in which way we would go. And I met Steve Weary. He's very knowledgeable. He knows a lot of stuff. He would be a great manager for the parks, but I had to tell him, I like telling people what they want to hear, but I need to tell them what they have to hear. And I told him that if I'm not mistaken, this position would probably have to be posted somehow or advertised and the most qualified person would get it. But he's well qualified is what I'm saying. He's a great guy. After meeting him one time, maybe after a couple of years, we might get at each other's throat, but he was good. He was good and thorough. So
will you guys meet again to add more to this? And
the same time we do the other part.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen, very much for your work. All right, number 12 would be a bid award for the courthouse utility relocation. Can you, Corey, do you have, you want to read them? What have you come up with?
Rhinest Contracting was acting as the general and their subs were Richie's Refrigeration, Billy Electric, both out of Escanaba, and Excel Fire Protection. I believe they're out of Appleton. They were $713,600. Berger and King, they were acting as the general, and those subs were Billy Electric, Roy Ness, and Superior Land, also all out of Escanaba. Their bid was $760,000, and Prime Mechanical is out of Marquette. They were acting as a general also. And their subs were Billy Electric out of Escanaba, Roy Ness Contracting out of Escanaba, and Superior Land Fire Protection out of Escanaba. And their bid was $639,950, and they were out of county, so Ashley added 5% to that, which brought it to $671,947.50, which still left them low.
So is that what you're recommending?
That's what I would recommend, yes.
Commissioners, do you have questions for Corey, our department head?
No, it was too complicated, but we have to trust
It's all right
trust
here.
them in
You got
this. And I'd move that we take the low bid, according to, our maintenance.
We have a motion by Commissioner
Department.
View. Support. Supported by Commissioner Melner to accept the low bid. Out of the three. Additional discussion?
A lot of local people there yet
Yeah,
too.
roll call, please.
Melner,
Yes.
View,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
and Moyle.
Yes. All right, Commissioner Barron has a standalone bid.
Hey,
Oh,
Corey's got it up
sorry,
there.
buddy.
We have all train controls in this building, or not in this building, at the courthouse. So we went, train is gonna do our controls, and that was $71,000. And they're also using local electricians to do the work, so I don't know which ones they're using, they didn't specify, but
We have one bid for this. I would need a motion to proceed with it.
So moved.
Motion to proceed with it.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Melnar, support by Commissioner Barron. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, this would carry. Corey, thank you for your time tonight. Do you have anything else or you're?
no, I was just looking for the exact dollar amount.
Very good. The 13th agenda item, which is an addition by Commissioner View, and motion on initiating, if you would, phase one of the courthouse security. Are you pleased with, would you like to make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we, direct the sheriff to, figure out the, best process to secure our courthouse in phases.
Very good. That's a motion by Commissioner View, or support by Commissioner Melner. Additional discussion. Very good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those are opposed. Okay, good. It all passes unanimously. All right, the 14th item put on by Commissioner View, please go ahead.
That item is to give each commissioner, if they so desire, an opportunity to, present to the public, the termination of the administrator.
All right, very good. Commissioner Peterson, starting with you, do you wish to comment on this?
Well, the only thing I can say is, having been an employer and had to deal with, the hiring and termination of employees, it was always my understanding that when you terminated an employee, that you were not supposed to address that, clause as it violates their rights. And so I would just say at this point in time that just that people watch the YouTube video honestly of that meeting and come to their own conclusion.
Commissioner View, do you have?
Yes, I do. Maybe I shouldn't be here. I talk too much. I think being a new commissioner, my interactions with Emily were not 100% on the direction I needed help with all the time, but I understood that she was busy in her position. She also said we were a fast-paced county, and I was just a little bit too slow. Other than anything like that, I didn't realize till after, in retrospect, that maybe some of the commissioners were, and I'm not speaking for them, but in the public probably didn't understand, and I didn't understand until I looked at what was said later, and it was real difficult for me to see why that was said, because something must have happened over the last year, and it didn't involve me, but I had nothing but positive relationship professionally with our administrator.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Melner.
Yeah. I've heard several times that we're moving in a different direction. And not one time has anybody, any one of the commissioners come up and said, this is the direction we're moving. And I still don't know what direction we're moving in from what we were used to doing. Second of all, I don't know how a commissioner, after only 5 weeks of being on the board, can make such a judgment towards a person that they don't even know.
Thank you for your time, sir. I was the person who said that on BBC, it's Craig Warpole, on Newsmakers, that comment was forthcoming on the did not do that. I apologize. That was nobody else's error but mine. I did not go into the meeting on the 7th with the expectation of terminating our employee. In fact, I didn't know, I wasn't knowledgeable about why it was on. I was expecting a discussion on the contract. People are welcome to their own opinions, and that's the way it goes. I would suggest if you put yourself in my position and watch that video. I don't feel good about this, but that's all I'm going to say. Commissioner Barron.
I stated earlier, and I'll reiterate that as Commissioner Malner, I was curious about, we are moving in a different direction, and we are moving in a different direction, and that's it. Thank
So
you.
what's the direction?
I made my comment.
All right, very good, sir. All right, very good. Please keep quiet. If we'll get general public comment, you're welcome to address the board. It is time for general public comment. You get 3 minutes to address the board, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Still Christine Peppin. I just want to make a couple comments on a couple of the agenda items that you spoke of. On old business number 1, the process for hiring of the new administrator. Maybe instead of a 9-member committee, this board can put together some kind of a wage package and job description and bring it to a board meeting. Pass it out. Let us take a look, see what you're looking for. So we have an idea of what exactly this board is looking for and what they're willing to compensate to get it. On item number 3 in the old business, do we have a county attorney now? I understand the MMRMA or whatever that is. But anyway, I remember when we were paying 100,000 plus a year for an attorney that did nothing for the county. So I understand that savings there because I was working here then. And what has happened since that attorney has been gone that makes the board so concerned about us having an attorney now of our own and not using the service that's available to us? I guess that's a question I would have for this board. On number 7, the administrative assistant stipend. I know the administrative assistant. I know she's a hard worker. I don't deny anybody extra money if they can get it out of this board. But my question is, as a former employee, we were actually prohibited from asking for reclassification and more money due only to an increase in workload. Our job duties had to be changed significantly before we would they even be considered for additional compensation. So an additional workload, we did the work, we did the additional work. We didn't get paid extra money for it because it was in our job descriptions, and that's exactly what we were told. And finally, the FOIAs. Commissioner Barron, you said, how much is it costing the county? I would ask to take a look at what the county charges for those FOIAs, because they're not free to the public. County has to pay for, our public has to pay for FOIAs, from my understanding. And those are just a few of the things from tonight's meeting that I have questions about myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. General public comment, please. General public comment.
Good evening, Kelly Vangenhoven again, City of Escanaba. I just wanted to give you a few rules of procedure violations that have been committed since you have been commissioners on this board. And I think that's, twice tonight I heard about quote unquote frivolous loss. That's okay. So twice tonight, I heard Commissioner Moyle discuss or be concerned with frivolous lawsuits, one with FOIAs, which is why part of the reason why he wanted to compensate Tracy extra. And then also with getting a municipal attorney. However, I'm kind of thinking that the frivolous lawsuits could possibly come from the violations that you're committing as a board. Under rights and duties of members, 6.1, speaking priorities and limits. It says, no member while addressing the board shall be interrupted except to be called to order. And we have all witnessed where Commissioner View was repeatedly interrupted and not able to finish speaking in earlier meetings. Under 5.2 agenda, all information to be placed on the agenda must be received to the clerk of the board no later than 12 noon on the 6th day immediately preceding said regular or adjourned regular meeting. This also includes nominations for appointments. Nominators shall be responsible for providing the board with such information as may be necessary concerning qualifications of their nominees. This was a violation with the appointment of the data board. The application was not given to the commissioners until the day of the meeting, which is a violation of this rule. That motion and support and appointment should be rescinded. Lastly, adoption and amendment of rules. They shall remain in effect until amended or rescinded at any regular board meeting. Notification of purposed amendments or recession having been presented in writing to board members 10 days prior to each meeting. At the reorganizational meeting in January, Barron and Moyle both added items to the agenda at the meeting and then made motions to change these rules of procedure. They failed to give 10 days notice to all the board members in writing before doing so. Therefore, these amendments should be null and void. These are just 3 examples. Now, tonight you committed another violation by accepting a contract of our interim administrator when you don't even have a contract written. When Commissioner View asked for that contract to be read, there is no contract. So how can you pass for a contract when there was none written? So that's another violation. So if you're concerned about violations and municipal's attorneys and frivolous lawsuits, the only ones you have to look at are yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, please. General public comment.
Okay, Roland's here. I just want to put it on the record that this person right here earlier during agenda item comments made a disgusting sexual gesture in the general vicinity that I believe other women near me saw. I just want you to know about it.
Thank you, Kate. Public comment, sir.
Excuse my voice tonight. I'm trying to get over a cold. And I want to make it perfectly clear here that my comments that I make tonight, I have no personal vendetta or political vendetta against any member of the board.
Please state your name.
My name is Ed Flurry. I reside in Cornell Township. You know, it's very disheartening to come here to these meetings time after time and listen to the citizens pour out their complaints. Here's to fall on deaf ears. Now, I know I've been told we're listening, said the board's listening. So if they're listening, that's twice as bad because they don't give a damn what you're saying. Now, one of the questions that's been on the agenda here for quite a while is the firing of Emily DeSalvo. We have a lady that was super qualified, impeccable records. And let's cut through the crap. Why was she fired? because she done her job too good. She did too good of a job. And I've been in business and I've had to fire some people from time to time. But never did I fire anybody because they were doing too good of a job. Roy Matson get up here tonight. Real POS.
Sir, that's not gonna be
Oh,
tolerated.
sorry. I mean, that means,
I know what it means. So
person
continue.
of statute.
Thank you.
I could fill this room with citizens' complaints against Roy Matson. Yet he gets a pass from anything he does from the board. Why? Good old boy. The covering is donkey. You know, it's a shame that Emily didn't have the same protection that Roy Matson has from the good old boy club. Now, what's happened here in the last 3-4 meetings is sad. There are no winners here tonight. Nobody wins. The board loses, they've lost the confidence of the people.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. Public comment if you're interested in addressing the board, please.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
My name is Marilyn Henderson and I'm a resident of Escanaba. I'm just curious as to, I haven't been attending many meetings until recently. And I've noticed that when you announce that there's a meeting time, it should be consistent. But the ones that I've planned to attend seem to the time schedule has changed without much prior notification, which prevents many people who might have wanted to attend from attending, or maybe just missing the meeting entirely. So I don't understand why you change them. When you schedule a meeting, it should be consistent so that people who are planning to be there don't have to keep checking to see if there's been a change.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and I have one other thing I wanted to say regarding item number 3 of unfinished business. What do other counties do as far as, do they have an attorney on staff or do they utilize the services that you're currently using? What's the standard, industry standard? Just
Thank you.
wondering,
We
and
can-
I'd like that addressed.
We will. Thank you. General public comment, please.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hi, my name is Gary Gustafson. I'm from Ensign. Bob, be careful what you wish for. I do have complaints filed with the state police for Open Meetings Act violations that are very real and legitimate, and are being handled, and they are in the works right now. And when you say you may need an attorney that can handle the federal level, you might not be wrong about that. So I encourage you to get counsel for sure, and to read the Open Meetings Act and go back and realize that the last 4 meetings since January, everything you've done is null and void, is not any good. Emily DeSalvo is still our administrator, because when you commit Open Meetings Act violations, your decisions are no good. And they were no good to begin with, in my opinion. So I hope that maybe you take Emily DeSalvo's application and reconsider her for employment, since she did such a good job for the county, and read the Open Meetings Act and go back and guess where you went wrong. I'm not going to spell it out for you. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Hello? Can you hear
General
me?
public comment, please.
Hello?
General public comment.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Escanaba. Pretty simple what I have to say. And it's to Baron Moyle. And the comment about a different direction, you're going off the flipping rails. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. General public comment, please. General public comment.
Hello?
Chris Williams, Ford River Township. At the last meeting, Commissioner Moyle, you had suggested that people get together with you and talk, whether you have differences, whether you agree, disagree, that it would be really beneficial to have coffee and to talk about those things. Isn't that exactly what Ms. DeSalvo asked you to do? And you, Mr. Barron, both of which are busily writing, doing something else right now instead of listening. Isn't that exactly what she did? She asked you to get together with her and talk to her about what your issues were, why you chose to give her the merit or the marks that you did on her evaluations. And you did not, you didn't get together with her ever to talk about that. So what's the hypocrisy here? Why is it okay for me, who obviously disagrees with you, to get together and have a conversation about our disagreements? Why didn't you get together with Ms. DeSalvo and talk to her about the merit or the marks that you gave her on her evaluation? That is despicable, both of you. The last thing, Mr. Moyle, you said at the last meeting, in the end, that the county purchased 1,400 acres for just under $40,000. I am just here to clarify that that is not a true statement. You did not purchase 1,400 acres for under $40,000. You contributed to $1 million grant that purchased that property. The county did not purchase it for under $40,000. So stop trying to paint a picture that's completely inaccurate. People are a little bit smarter than that.
General public comment, please. General public comment, please.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Nate Cheesebro, City of Escanaba. First thing, this is the first one of these I've ever attended to in person. I've watched online for as long as they've been available. I am truly proud of my community, looking out, seeing everybody out here attending these things, researching everything. And I realize how intelligent people are, a lot smarter than I am. So my 3 minutes probably aren't going to be as good. But I was going through the agenda packet tonight, and I read Ethical Standard 101. Always put loyalty to high moral standards and to the county above any loyalty to persons, department, or agency, or political or other interests. Knowing the different personal relations that are here on this board with different people in the community, different agencies, all you have to do is look at a plat book and look around Delta County Forest. Who's got acreages that are set next to that forest? Mr. Rory Mattinson. So we're purchasing things now, and then our friends are buying property next to it. I mean, how is this benefiting us? Has any of that timber been taken? I remember hearing a YouTube video that you put together that you said you didn't know an aspen tree from a pine tree or something to that effect. So if you're leading the charge on that, who is advising you on which property to purchase and where to purchase it at? That's just my one question. And as far as high moral standards go, you look at each of you up here, you try to get a feel for who you are, you research who you are, what you stand for. Researching Mr. Moyle on your Twitter account, DMoyle David, the first thing I see on there is pornography. I don't have a Twitter account, don't even have any password or anything to see that. I'm wondering how is that a good representation as the chairman of this county board? And also remember, you're the only one sitting here where the majority of your constituents voted against you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. General public comment, please. General public comment, please.
I'm Sandy Sovey from Ford River. And I just have a couple things that I'm noticing, and I haven't been coming to these meetings very much either till recently. But for one thing, how it's said that you could always talk to you to get answers. I have sent emails and I know of probably 100 people that have sent emails asking questions and nobody gets an answer. The other thing is I'm noticing I don't know what you call it. Every time that there's a vote, there are 3 people that will always vote together. If one goes for whatever it is, the other 2 will vote that way. And it's a trend. I don't know why that is. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. And then the other thing is, I just think that the 3 of you fired Emily for personal reasons and not for looking out for the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Silva. General public comment, please, from anybody. General public comment.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, my name is Bjorn Vingenhoven Schaefer. You guys are not listening. Commissioner View, sorry. Put something on the agenda today, asking you and Moyle and Mr. Barron why Emily DeSalvo was fired. All 3 gave a cop out. Look at the video. Look at the video. I'm asking you personally why you did it. You, Commissioner Peterson, Commissioner Moyle, and Commissioner Barron. I know his decision get made by God, so whatever, that's his direction. I get it. But the people are pissed. They want an answer. And they're not getting it, even though it's get put on the agenda. It is not done yet. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. General public comment. Yes, sir. Sorry about that, sir.
I'm sorry.
You're right.
Ann Fix, Escanaba. I just want to say, you said for us to look at the YouTube video on the firing. I suggest you look at the YouTube video of the last meeting when Mr. Reed Heikkinen was 3 minutes going after Melner. And then he sat down in his chair and pointed to his crotch. He just did another disgusting thing in front of all of us women. Now, the sheriff came over last week and told us to be respectful. You didn't see him grabbing his crotch? I want him to be respectful. It's disgusting behavior. At the top is 30.9.
Thank you.
Check it out.
Evening, sir.
Norman Fleury, Escanaba Township. I worked
Nice.
for the state of Michigan
Stop, please.
for over
Stop.
20.
Mr. Fleury, can you stop, please? This is in you're gonna, guys, I can't have you saying that to each other. I can't. We have a deputy in the room that will handle this. Mr. Fleury, I'm sorry, sir. I'm trying to get you the floor unabated.
Okay, that's fine.
Sir, can we just call for quiet, please, and listen to this gentleman? Please.
The state of Michigan defines a temporary position as 640 hours. Anybody that has ever been assigned to out of work classification always got the money. That was one of the things that given them incentive to work out of class. And anybody that steps up and does that deserves the extra money. I wouldn't do it. And I was offered to do different work and I said, is there any extra money? And they said, well, you're in the union, we'll just assign it to you. When you step up into management, you are out of the union, but you still have that right to go back at the end of the 6 months. So, I don't know. But that's chiseled in stone and it's policy from the state of Michigan.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
That's fine.
General public comment. No public comment on agenda items.
Can you hear me?
Comment on, so just so other people don't get screwed up, unless I'm wrong, your meeting schedule, and I know it's new. But if you look at it, I thought it was the first meeting of the month that was 5 o'clock. The second meeting of the month was 5:15. If that is the case, the numbers are backwards.
Where?
Well, here it says here, regular board meeting of commissioners meeting, 3:21 says 5 o'clock. That would be 5:15, would it not, or my?
No, you're correct.
And then it says regular board meeting 4:4, 5:15, which would be 5, and the same with the next one. So I just thought I'd point it out.
It's,
I'll let Tracy know.
Okay. Just a couple of things I want to bring up. First of all, Commissioner Moyle, it brings up the 40,000. I think it was actually 36, but that was the money that came out of the general fund. So that's usually when you purchase something. Everything else was either a swap and or work through, just like Christine said, a state grant. So out of the general fund, to buy 1,400 acres, 36,000, I think is a pretty good deal. I'd buy it all the time. And then somebody brought up ownership. To let you know, that was a 3.5-year project because the commissioners brought to myself, and one of them was Commissioner Melner, the other one was Commissioner Rivard, try to find some forest land that the county could purchase for the purpose of having revenue in the future to put into the parks. Because we all know, as soon as interest rates going up, as soon as all this hits in a couple of years, I think that there's going to be some cuts. And when those cuts get cut, I don't think they're cutting the sheriff's department what they shouldn't. They'll be cutting the parks again. And we'll be right back to square one. So I worked 3.5 years trying to look at forest land, mostly with the Forest Service, to try to do a trade. Well, that was no good because the county had 160 acres by garden and the Forest Service wanted a 3-to-1, and they didn't want to give us any timberland. They wanted to give us, I want to say buckthorn, but tag alters. And so when that was found, and I know Commissioner Melner and Commissioner Rivard, we took a ride up Truex to the best timber that Plum Creek had at the time. We went to the south, we went to the north. We ended up picking that out also with Ryan Bergman, and basically that piece was bought. When I saw the timber in the big tooth aspen that sits up in that north section, I planned to buy some land up there. And I kick myself now, because of the grief I get, I should have bought it first because I saw it. It was up for sale, just like anybody else who has camps up there. They all bought it from Plum Creek. So the point being is, I let the county get that 1,400 acres, and we had to work out little squares and different things with Plum Creek to get it all there. So there was no easements, very few easements through, and I bought my property afterwards. And there's still land for sale up there. Anybody can buy land. Thank you.
thank you, sir. General public comment, please. General public comment, you have 3 minutes to address the board. Anybody interested? General public comment.
Reed Hyken, Escanaba. Real quick lesson for a lot of people, Mr. Chairman. I see a lot of people tending towards wanting to involve the public, appoint a committee, appoint this, appoint that. That's moving toward democracy. And while that's a great word and everybody always believes in democracy, this is not a democracy because democracy doesn't work. Democracy means everybody has a vote on everything. This is a republic. It is a democratic republic where individuals are elected. Citizens elect their representatives to act for them. Were it a democracy, nothing would ever get done. Making a decision for the bathroom or what kind of food to eat would have to be a matter of a committee and nothing would happen. I'm sorry, this is a democratic republic. There's a reason democracy isn't what runs this country. We need to be a republic. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. General public comment, please. General public comment. Do we have any comments on Zoom? Very good.
Hello?
We're on Zoom. Can you hear us?
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You have a general public comment. Thank you.
Hello, this is Kathy Scott calling. How are you gentlemen tonight? I want to thank you for your service because you're certainly not doing it for the money. I can tell you that. I just have a very brief comment. As a county resident for over 30 years, I've been interested in county government, and I was attending county meetings 6-7 years ago before it became so cool, I guess. So, I think that we need a skilled, professional, highly educated, and apolitical administrator who works to unite the county and does all of the county's business as directed by the board, not just the business that one sees fit. There are also many reasons why an employer would not list all of the reasons for dismissing an employee, especially in a public forum like this. And anyone who runs a business or is educated in this area or educated period should know that. So it's befuddling to watch these meetings, but I just want to thank you again for your service, all of you. Thanks.
Thank you. We have additional comments on Zoom. All right, you guys checking on that? One more call, comments on Zoom? All right, very good. Moving on to commissioners' concerns. Commissioner Peterson.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go to a very productive, what I thought was a very productive meeting with Billerud and the Soil and Conservation District this last week. Got some information from Billerud on once their project starts out there for their new machine. They are going to be bringing in approximately 2,000 people for 2 to 5 years. You have no place for that many people. They said that once they get rolling, there will not be a motel room or an Airbnb or a VRBO available in town until they're done with their project. So that's something that I've been looking at for a couple of years before I even sat down on the board, that we have a real shortage of housing and lodging in this area. I don't know what the county role could play in helping facilitate this problem, but I am trying to look into it. I'm trying to get information. We also had talked about the sewer and water that's going in down by Bayview, and Root is going to write us a letter of recommendation on that. They are very interested in seeing that come in. That sewer and water would alleviate some soil contamination in that's in that area from septic systems, and would greatly help in developing that area for homes and hotels or whatever kind of businesses might go down there. I'm looking forward to trying to keep the lines of contact open between the board and Billerud, and see if there's any way that Delta County can step in and work with them to help their project. And there's going to be a lot of, after the machine is in, the work is done, which like I said could be 2 to 5 years, but by the time they complete all of what they're doing, after that, there's not going to be any more people hired at the mill, but they will have need of biomass. They're changing their power system around, trying to get a little more environmentally friendly. So they're looking at using biomass in their generators. And there will be a need for people to produce and transport that. So there is going to be, if we're on the short term, a huge benefit to this county as far as economic benefit. In long term, there's still going to be jobs that are going to be needed, not as many. But the big thing that I see in this project is the longevity of our mill. They're going to be making paperboard in this new project, and really, I think this will be the only mill in the United States that's creating this paperboard, or if not, it's the biggest one. And I think, like I said, I want to continue to work with them, and I want the county to do everything we possibly can to help finish their project, advance their project, and advance the county along with it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner View.
I just realized that one person can make a difference, no matter if we're up here or out in the audience. And as a commissioner, I am trying to solve problems, address, situations, not take sides, censure individual beliefs. I used to be an umpire. I at least at one time pleased half the people that were looking upon me. But being supportive doesn't mean agreeing with something I don't agree with. It's about finding a way forward. I'm outcome driven. If it's wrong, make it right. If it's unfair, make it fair. If there's emotions involved, make it justified. Your opinions are your opinions. They may not be my opinions, and the opinions are not able to define what I do here. I'd like to address the property out at the forest. Basically, I did a little research on it. All that land was offered to the property owners prior to during the sale and prior to the sale. So I haven't seen any evidence of somebody getting an advantage because they own. I haven't personally. A 40 acres or 80 acres that border that our county forest. I probably don't have the whole history on it, but right now, my opinion is they bought it fair and square. The time change, someone mentioned the time change. I think that was in our beginning procedures. The first meeting of the month was a different time, and it is going to probably take a little bit of period to get everyone adjusted to that. I did some outreach in the county, talking to different departments, road commission, different ones that the administration building and stuff. The number one issue right now for everyone that they were talking about was the health insurance increase. And I know what that can be for anybody, anywhere. And I don't know if there's something we can look at to see under Public Act 152, get some type of reading on all three ways our county can figure out what it costs, and because a lot of them are asking if there's something that can be done. So I'm just putting it out there. Escanaba Township, I went to the meeting last night, the Planning Commission meeting. I had people contact me on, there's no parks, what is it? East of the river, Escanaba River. And years ago, there was looks for making a park somewhere up on the bluff or something. And they would like to see if we can do some movement that way. And I mentioned that to the Planning Commission. I went through the 2019 Delta County, what do you call that? Planning,
Master.
No, no, master plan, excuse me. I get a lapse once in a while, right? And in that, it says the parks were something that needs to be looked at. They want, maybe camping and park area up in that area. I also, I know we move as one voice after each individually votes. 3-2 votes when it's done. Like I said, we don't have to agree with it, but we need to move forward with it. If it's 4-1, 1-4, whatever. I don't know if there's anything specific about it. Everybody represents what they feel is best for this county. No matter how the vote turns out. I do answer all my emails, all my phone calls. And I'm proud to say that I probably answer them within 24 hours. Maybe that's not normal for someone to do that, but that's how I operate being a commissioner. No sides, no nothing, just there to listen. Another thing I'd like to address, if we can have it put on the next agenda and have it brought before us, is a stipend for the IT position, the head IT guy. I think he is putting in a lot of extra time. Just tonight and in the last meeting, that's like 9 extra hours of his time that he normally doesn't do. And it's just part of what's happening right now. I mean, that's just my personal feeling on that, so we can talk about that. And if Ashley could come up with a little bit of extra for him also. And I'd like any other employee in the county that felt they're being overtaxed, with FOIAs and that, well, legitimately, I can see this one here. Because I haven't seen him at the meetings, and even when I came to other ones, he was not here, but he's here now. He puts his time in during the week. Now he has to come at night. And then I'd like to talk about maybe on the next agenda, we have outreach with the radio. I have a couple ideas. I'd like to rotate who goes on the radio, pair up, maybe 2 commissioners, maybe the chair and then, like the city clerk one time or vice versa, if so desired, so they can talk about their departments and what's happened at the meeting and any other one, at the same time. I think we need to get just different voices there on different opinions. So it's not that it's wrong now. I just feel that we need to do something like that. And I'm glad about the packets being able to be available with everybody. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Milner.
No comment.
Mr. Brown.
There's a lot that we covered tonight, and I'm thankful for that. And I want to add a couple things to Commissioner Peterson about that's taking place in the county. He talked about the biomass that Billerud is looking for. There's also another entity. It's not in the UP. It's Consumers Power. They're looking at a huge amount of converting some coal-fired plants down by Manistee, and the amount of biomass, wood chips, basically, they'll need on a daily basis some 15,000 tons, about 550,000 a year. In combination with Billerud potentially, which is roughly 400,000 more. This is huge, which could be a very positive for in 2018. In 2018, it's the first time in Michigan that the amount of trees being cut was less than the amount of trees dying from insect and disease. So it's meaning that our forests, we're not keeping up what's out there. They're aging. Insect and disease damage to forests is generally because of the age of the forest. They're over mature. So these are really some very positive things that are taking place. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Nancy? All right, a couple of things here. In answering Chris Pepin's questions as best I can, I do remember the times when we were spending between 100 and 150 grand a year on legal counsel. What happened, I think, to make people gun shy was a couple of lawsuits that the MMRMA recommended settle out of court because it would be cheaper than defending his position on that. So as our society becomes more litigious and the threat is constantly there, I believe the threat is real about frivolous lawsuits, and I don't have any intention on exposing the county to that. I would thank the prosecutor's office, both current and previous, for offering and writing some opinions that they have. Charges for FOIA will vary based on the FOIA and the nature of the FOIA itself. As far as running a commissioner's meeting, it's a work in progress, and I do not intentionally try to step on other commissioners, but I would like to see one other chairman who's never made that mistake. And typically, when you've heard me apologize when I have, and I always will. As far as deaf ears, somebody at the last meeting was talking about conflict of interest. That's going to be on next agenda. So this commission will discuss conflict of interests and the declaration of such. Additionally, tonight's movement on ethics, how is that deaf ears? That is our acknowledgement that, yeah, we're people, we make mistakes. But if somebody was trying to skirt that issue, we wouldn't have reaffirmed that. The issue of the 1,400 acres, that was printed in the daily press. Okay, Ryan Bergman handled that. Mattson pulled a rabbit out of a hat. The people of Delta County are the recipients of that property. I don't care if you don't want us to have a victory. This board did it on behalf of the people. And if you can acquire 1,400 acres for less than 40K, I would think you'd be moving quickly on it. In terms of other activities, I've never had a Twitter account. I did talk to the state police about the account that Mr. Chesborough mentioned. I've never tweeted. And I've talked to Twitter about that and told them that I'm getting raked over the coals. There's something up there that I didn't put that account in effect. Sorry if you don't like me, it's not my account. And there's nothing I can do about that. I thank you for coming, whether you believe it or not. This only works if people get involved. So thank you for spending your time here. It was actually a few minutes less than it was last time. The County Board of Meetings, be advised that we have one on 3/21 of this month at 5:15. Now, yesterday, our interim administrator had a picture of 102 degrees. Okay, I called her and pointed these out, and I can imagine if I had 102 degree temperature, there's going to be a few things get past people. Regular Board of Commission meetings on 4/4/23. That's at 5 p.m. That is our commissioners' informational workshop. Okay, and then the additional one that is another one in April, statutory board at 4/11/23. That should be at 5:15 p.m. Okay, no 30-day appointments, the jury commission, nothing. Then with that, I will entertain.
So moved.
All right, support, drive safe.
We all support.
Drive safe, Commissioner.